Wars.
Across the universe, there is James.
Exciting and new.
There is Darth Vader killing Captain. Yeah. What?
What? Star Wars?
Huh?
I've never even heard of it. What's this all about? Hi guys,
Yes.
welcome back. Star Wars. Small ships, fighters, in fact. Hi Sam. How you doing?
Hello, 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 hello. Yes, Star Warsin'.
Across the universe. That's catchy, actually. You can make a whole Star Wars song to that. You're really good.
Maybe.
It's good. It's good. You're good. Anyway, how is everybody? Hope you're well.
Yes, this is going to be something a bit different, yet also the same.
It's a tiered list of fighters or small ships, basically, in Star Wars. Only canonical. Only made it to a show or a movie.
And there are many shows now, so that list got broader, even in the last couple of years, to a rather broad list. This is part 1 of probably 4. Hey, if you guys love it, we worked out sort of ranks for this, as it were, ranks within ranks. So you got the original trilogy, and the clarifier here is that it's original trilogy era. So this includes things from Rebels, which is Stormtrooper original series, up until Ahsoka, which is original series, Stormtroopers, Mandalorian. Still in the same bracket, because you can't say either are Clone Wars, because it's not. And especially since that has its own aesthetic, it would be sort of disingenuous to say a sort of a, you know, like, we're keeping that bit split. So there's a lot in the original era, because we've done a lot of the new shows in this era. A lot of expansion. The prequels, which has a lot of other ships, as in it's not just the 2 factions, it's not just 13 TIEs, it's a lot of variety, actually. And the sequels, which had 3 films, and it's almost entirely redos of old stuff, and not a lot, actually, which is kind of odd. But we've got that, and then our 4th one, if you guys like this, like via Super Chat and support, etc., game/comic/other media. So licensed, legends, broad spectrum. And that could be effing fun, and also we'll forget everything because it's like, oh that thing, but that could be really, really fun. And then do a last thing, all the A's and S's to cram together and see who is the actual winner of the Battle of the Star Trek fighter/small craft.
Benjamin Stone says, not if the Falcon counts as a small ship. But it is a small ship.
It is.
I've been to Galaxy's Edge. It's not that big. I've stood in front of it. It's not that big.
Well, it's exactly the same as we included a runabout in the shuttles video, because even though it isn't, it would be weird to include in the spaceship bit, because it's a big shuttle, right? It's a camper van. It's just a big shuttle.
It is, yeah. So, yeah, the Falcon is on this list today, so...
Yes. I thought that was important, because also there's other ships that are similarly... Where else are you going to put them? In a good way, right?
Yeah.
So yes, we included a few things, but so I'm going to start sharing, so I'll see you all in a mo.
Go for it. 17 viewers, 12 likes, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get those likes up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Even if you were subscribed previously, make sure you hit the subscribe button again and the notification bell icon to all, so that you actually, in fact, are subscribed and will get notified when we do our lives and stuff. Don't forget to hit that join button. We're going to have something very special for members of the channel very soon. That will be announced. So make sure you join the channel if you're able to, or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. You can Patreon us up over there as well. We really appreciate that also. Or, you know, just do the things, like it, super chat. Super chat, because this is a community tier list first and foremost, and at the end, me and Sam make a few tweaks for our final list for just him and I. But if you put something on the list that you don't agree with where it's placed, by all means, you can move it. A $5 super chat will move it up or down 1 tier. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think about these kind of things. So super chat in, even if you don't want to move anything, we'd really appreciate that also, just because it does help support the channel and us, and we really appreciate that. So do it if you can. Also, there are links down below to the Teespring and the TeePublic store. We got some cool Trekyards merch, so check that stuff out and get yourself a shirt or a hat or socks, shower curtain, pillow, blanket, coffee mug, phone case. There's a lot of stuff you can get. Check out the links down below, and you'll see all the cool Trekyard stuff down there. So, all right.
So, Stuart, how obvious, impassioned do you feel about Star Wars fighters and their quality rating, ranking, etc.?
There are a few standouts for me, but I'm not super passionate about it. It'll be interesting to see where the conversation takes us, because some of them are, I think I might already have kind of preconceived where they could go, but discussion points can definitely change that. So we'll see how it goes. How about you? I know you got the Star Wars collection coming in.
Yeah. It's funny when there's only so many popular ones, and they're now in not the dregs, but they clearly saved a few until later, which is kind of nice, because there is still something. But they're doing a lot of the land vehicles, and unfortunately that goes from being the AT-AT to the random speeder that the First Order wants used on a desert planet that no one gives a shit about. It's right, well, most of the new trilogy stuff is well, that's there now. But I liked getting recently the it took this long, a year and a half to get the Republic gunship. Love it, finally, and which is funny because I'm so past what the website offers. I have no clue what's coming up because I never updated the website after the first 10. So I have zero idea what's coming at any given month, which is really weird. But I guess they still make them.
Yeah.
Weird.
Gorgonzola, will you be discussing the Rebel fighters in alphabetical order? That would be nice to start with the A-Wing, the B-Wing, and so on.
Order. That's too structured. No.
Okay,
let me start a poll as well.
All right. So get your super chats ready. Even if you don't want to bump anything on the list, just super chats in general really help us out, and we appreciate it. So please do that. But yes, like I said, $5 super chat will bump one up or down depending on your preference. Because first and foremost, this is a community tiered rank list. At the end, Sam and I will, of course, tweak it a little bit for our final one, but there will be a community final one as well. So your voice matters in this regard. And
in fairness, if there's any we've missed, then throw in a 5 so we can include it, because there might be a couple. I've not seen all of Rebels. I've not seen any of Ahsoka. If there's a fight that's, I remember that from the show that made it in for one scene of a thing you might have missed. Or fair enough. So let us know. We can put those back in. I try to be pretty detailed, but I've not seen every scene of all these things, so therefore I'm gonna miss something, right?
Now that you've said that, I realize there's one missing from Ahsoka, on the baddies fighter, but I can't remember. I don't know what it's called.
Help Stuart out.
Yeah.
I ain't seen it, so I don't know. Is it another TIE fighter?
No, it's not. It actually looks kind of like a World War II fighter.
Goodness.
Just backwards. It's an interesting design. So.
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called though.
And there's a poll as well, Stuart, if you want to read that out, my friend.
Oh my God, we have a poll. And I have a friend. Who has the best designs, the Empire or the Rebels?
Yes.
It's easy. The Empire.
Ooh.
Unified look, more money. Rebels are all just mishmash ships, and
although no shield generators or hyperdrives for most ships, so.
Well, yeah.
They're mass-produced shittier. They're cannon fodder.
They are. Anyway, go vote in the poll.
Where are we starting now, guys?
All right, you ready for the first one?
Yes. Yes, Moff Gideon's custom TIE variant.
Yeah. Is it a custom?
Well, it's the only time we've seen it.
It's true, but I mean, I thought this was just a function that all TIE fighters had that we finally saw for the landing. But it is kind of cool with the foldable wings and the landing gear. So,
because I think he also flies it with them at a slight angle. I don't know. All the shots I saw of it looked distinct. So I was like, okay,
okay.
So TIE fighter with movable wings. So I thought this was its, because like I say, all the stuff I saw at this angle as a reverse. That's why I took it as being a new one.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just a standard one. Because when the Mandalorian is battling it in the air, He throws the bomb on it.
Let me have a look.
It's a standard tie. Ray Ricks, 2 pounds. RP-82 Fiend Fighter. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Let me check.
Yeah, it's funny. Every shot of it in every medium is like, look, it has foldable wings. But of course, that's the landing. But I don't think all TIE fighters have that. I think he just wanted to land differently.
Well, yeah, I just assumed it was a...
and also it has legs, which I definitely don't think an all TIE fighter has space for.
Yeah, that's the fighter. Yeah, the one that Ray Ricks put in is the one I was thinking of from Ahsoka.
Okay, let's see what that is. Oh, I have no idea what that is. Cool.
Yeah.
Shin Heighties. Definitely breaks the mold of everything we're looking at today.
A little bit.
I guess it's whatever. So assuming this is a specialist TIE fighter, your thoughts on the specialist TIE fighter that can do this?
It's cool. I mean, I was assumed as a kid that they just landed on their wings, and then there's like a thing that kind of down with the pilot. And of course, when they're docked in the Star Destroyers, they get them from the top because they're in like harnesses on the ceiling. So, as a variant, I like it. It gives you a little bit more. I mean, how does he get out? Is there a hatch at the back or the front?
Well, he opens up top and gets out, and then I guess because the legs obviously go down. So once he walks down the legs, that walks down the radiator fins.
Yeah, I need to watch that again. It's cool. It's an interesting. We'll say it's a variant for now. Yeah, sure. Because
it was very odd to see a Grand Moff have a bog standard TIE fighter, so I would assume there's more to it as well, more custom things. I'm sure it's got, I would assume it had other tech in it because he wouldn't want to have
like shielding,
you know what I mean? Like he probably doesn't have. Cause I think doesn't he have shielding in that? Doesn't man have to like punch shielding or something? So I feel like that was part of it because he wouldn't he had a TIE Advanced or a TIE Interceptor. You wouldn't just have a TIE fighter, right? So custom TIE.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm not sure where I want to rank it yet, though. What are your thoughts on it specifically?
It's called the Outland TIE Fighter.
The Outland TIE Fighter.
So it's a sub-variant. It's in Gideon's fleet.
Interesting.
A model of the TIE Fighter Outlander had more specific landing gear similar to that of the X-Wing. It had exterior appearance very much similar to the TIE Fighter, but it so collectors additional capacities folding the V-shape. Else. So yeah, custom variant.
Interesting. I like it. It's a good take on.
It's quirky.
Original design. Yeah, it is.
It does feel a bit daft because it's such an iconic shape, breaking up in that way, but it's cool to see it land, and it makes the TIE Fighter platform far more versatile. So I want to jump in straight as an A because it's an oddity.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't pick it over the normal TIE for some reason. I feel like there's a weak point of if they're splitting, there's a weakness there, and it was certainly losing a lot of internal volume by the legs. But it's also very cool.
All right, I'm fine to put it as an A. It's a good way to start off.
Still a darn TIE, but with a few bells and/or whistles.
This is acceptable. All right. So, next up, let's go with... I don't know, I'm just going to grab a random one. Ba-doom. I don't even know what it is yet. Slave 1.
Yes.
Not the Firestorm.
No. It can be that class, but it's called Slave 1. And this will be in both prequel and sequel era because there is 2 different paint jobs. So, take that. It's quite heavily in both, so...
Yeah.
Thoughts?
This, as a kid, I always thought looked like just like my mom's iron. It just has that handle and it's got that look to it. Apparently, it was styled after one of the lampposts.
Almost verbatim, yes.
By ILM there. It's an interesting design. The fact that the cockpit rotates and stuff is a neat feature, and we get to actually see that in Book of Boba Fett, or was it Mandalorian? One of them, we get to see how it works inside when that takes off. So it's a really cool idea, and I was never sure how it worked as a kid. It just didn't make sense to me with the loading ramp at the back, and then the way he sits in it. It always just seemed odd, but to get more context later on is interesting. Not the biggest fan of the design, honestly. It just literally looks like it's got a handle and you just iron clothes with it. So, How about you?
No, I mean, it's phenomenal, right? It's one of the most iconic of its kind. Obviously, it's a hyper-specialist version of this subgenre of fighters. And it's meant to be die, 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 kill, kill, win, 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 hey, 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 we can do it. So it's but it's so unique. And obviously, like I say, once you see the light fixture, it's like, oh, they just stole it.
Yeah.
Like you stole the design. There really isn't much else in it that's not the light fixture. But take it out for a second. The fact that it has landing, configuration, movement is brilliant. This is one of those very few ones my parents invested in the good Lego one when I was young, which are like 3 times the price, but I thought it was worth it. So I had all the Django, Boba variants, etc. The 4 guns are great. All the sounds for this are also absolutely top notch. The main cannons, the sonic boom, the engines, is all just perfect sound design. Yes, the scene inside for Mandalorian was obviously a dream come true, and they did it very well, and you felt it. The one sequence of it in the Attack of the Clones is a very, very good sequence, even if it's just ship porn. But you know what? It's really damn good looking. And both paint schemes are great, both for different reasons, right? The green and red work really well together, and the other one's a cleaner, more interesting thing. And I think, this one used the sonic weapon as a retcon in Mandalorian, proving it still had it from the Clone Wars, which itself was a retcon of not using the original series. But it was fun to sort of square that circle back. I mean, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, and weird.
So you're thinking S tier then?
I think this is, I mean, but it's also so much more designed than TIE Fighter. You know, TIE Fighters are simple by their premise, but also we're judging it in contrast to itself.
Yeah. Did you ever have the Hasbro toy?
No, only ever Lego.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never had this one either, but I always wanted it. I had Boba Fett, but I didn't have the ship. So.
But we have Ozzy. Unless you read that one.
I have not. Hold on a second here. There we go. Sorry, I looked something up and I was on the wrong screen. Ozzy, $5. Millennium Falcon. It's almost Super Captain Foley's birthday. Yes.
Yes, it is.
This Saturday, we're having a Trekyards 50th birthday celebration bash.
Yes. Be there or be square.
I think you mean the Millennium Falcon. Yes. Millennium Falcon is fantastic. We'll get to that when we get to that.
But also heavily designed.
Yeah. All right, next up.
And guys, put in your thoughts, comments, questions, move things around, insist things are higher. Follow the community.
There you go.
This is the custom, obviously personal carrier of the guy from Rogue One at the start.
Yes.
And this was the best render, and I see it for Lego versions, which are much easier to see, but this was the best of the live action. So it's his custom, and he was a scientist guy, I guess. Krennic.
What was his name? Yeah, Krennic.
Orson Callan Krennic, director of the Imperial Military Development of Advanced Weapons Research. So it's his.
Dan Ben, we already addressed that. This is just canon stuff for now. We'll do Legends later.
If you guys like and support. If you don't, then we won't.
Yeah.
So.
You go first for this one.
Weird. You keep in Rogue One did throw a lot of new things into the mix. We'll look at them all today. You try to take the wheel, make a new wheel, but when the wheel was almost perfect to start with, this is a far shittier wheel. Now I get it's trying to do different things, but I don't quite understand what it's trying to do from this. Why is the body so small? Why are the wings so big? Don't get it. I don't see a reason for this design, and therefore I don't necessarily like it, because why? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, this is one that when I first saw on screen, I was not super impressed with. I'm like, the Tidarium shuttle is just far superior in every way.
ST-149.
Yeah.
Delta Class TC shuttle.
I see what you're trying to do, but you took a perfect thing and ruined it. And you're right. There probably is an in-canon reason for why the wings are like that. I'm sure somebody's thought of one, but it's such simple shapes and like no real style behind it. So yeah, it's not a favorite of mine, that's for sure.
And it's so little cared about that the Wikipedia page is basically just the history, which is just repeating the movie, and behind the scenes, this shuttle was created for Rogue One.
Thanks.
That's it.
Wow.
I know. I guess you could say perhaps it's faster. Maybe the wings do something with the hyperdrive, and therefore if it's designed to be a really, really fast craft, therefore the unusual shapes. But
could be.
No reason. I mean, given that hyperspace in Star Wars is just the speed of plot, the speed of plot minus a minute isn't really going to help very much, right? Speed is not really a thing in this.
Yeah.
It ain't nice looking. And it's small. Crew of 5, passengers 15, which of course mostly is Death Troopers. What are you thinking? Because this is certainly the least nice of the batch, but obviously we've got an ANS, so it's not essentially hard to do.
I'm thinking D for me personally. I don't know if it quite deserves an F. Maybe.
I don't like anything about it though. But it's also okay. It's also a box of wings. I think this could be the lowest on the scale. So I want to give it an F because I think there's nothing lower. I think
it's a good way to something to compare to later.
Yeah, if there's something lower, this instantly gets a D. But there's nothing I hate about it. But there's nothing I like about it. And you can barely see it with how even the pictures, right? The wings are so misproportioned that you can't even get the bloody image big enough in the orientation. It's like, it's such a weird ship.
Right? All right, let's pull in this bad boy. Boom, boom.
Ooh.
The Snowspeeder. Okay, as I've never liked the Snowspeeder design. It just... Something about it just doesn't work for me. I do love that it's a dual cockpit and they sit back to back, which is kind of interesting. But other than that, I've never been a fan of the Snowspeeder. Like, I get that I've seen it in many different forms now. There's like a sand speeder version, and there's, it's been converted to different climates and all that. They even say in Empire they're having trouble adapting them to the cold. But I don't know. I mean, the more I look at it, the more I like it, but I've never been a fan. So, plus it's got a harpoon, and that's just interesting. Oh, and of course, Obi-Wan, you can fit like how many people in one of... No, you can't. That was just incredibly stupid. But hey, we're not going to talk about that now. How about you? Do you like the Snowspeeder? I'm from Canada, so I don't like snow, so I just...
It's coarse, it's cold, and it gets everywhere.
It's soft and melty, wet, and it gets everywhere.
So this one, I think this one has the giant benefit of being so radically different in the original trilogy. So it stands out in its own way. It's also just a sort of a glider, but an elegant glider. The shape, I think, overall is very, very nice, with the details being very understandable. Big cockpit, easy window space, big blasters being held because rustic and they might be shorn away from wind or whatever. Harpoon, entirely irrelevant except in the power of plot, but of course built for the plot. Bottom has no detail and the back has engines and radiator. This one actually did have a toy of, a proper like plastic toy, and I always liked it because it was again so detailed compared to... The X-Wing was much smaller if I recall, so therefore the details were much smaller, and the TIE Fighter was boring because it's a TIE Fighter. This, at the size, was really well detailed. You saw it look pure in the cockpit. So this always stood out to me as a kid of like, oh, this is interesting, right? Now, obviously, its snowspeederiness has been, like you said a minute ago, diminished over time, given we saw it in Obi-Wan as being a hyperspace capable... Fuck knows what it was doing. It shouldn't have been there. We don't know why it was there. And as you say, who the hell approved a cockpit plot hole that you could fit like 6 people into a 2-person cramped thing? No. There's just so many problems with that. It's like, this is Disney and Lucasfilm. How to make such giant plot holes...
That's the other thing, like Snowspeeder, and just the way it's presented in the movie, I always just imagined this was more or less a land craft. It could hover like a certain distance above the ground for scouting missions and stuff. I didn't ever get to the thought that it could fly and or hyperspace.
Yeah, I mean,
it just makes no sense, right? So
I think they said in a separate thing that it flew to a orbiting ship.
I could,
but then that would be attacked by the orbiting Imperial ships and then get killed. So it does go into that freighter thingy, but also is that.
And Gary says, yeah, it's a ground support craft. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's the way it's presented in the movie. Is called Snowspeeder. So obviously that's been its preconceived whatever, and then modified for snow. So it's just a generic speeder that happens to fit beautifully well with snow conditions. Although I'm guessing it was repainted to, there's no point having a bright red speeder in snow. White for snow. I think it's really nice. Harpoon is, like I say, very silly. And what do they ever explain why they have harpoon guns, given that it was not designed to fight AT-ATs, nor was that the plan until Luke had the idea?
No, it's never. Well, it probably is explained somewhere in the lore somewhere. I could imagine it like hauling cargo, maybe on anti-grav pallets. And like the harpoons like to lock onto it. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know why the harpoon cable would need to be so long.
Well, yes, and also like it's so goddamn small. You can see its render. It's the tiniest like hand rifle. It's not like a giant harpoon. It was clearly just shoved onto the back.
Yeah.
But then, like I say, cargo. That's obviously not its design purpose. But I've always liked it. I've always thought it's nice. And my toy lost one of its cannon guns.
So, no.
R.I.P. For me, it's just far more interesting than the TIE Fighter, but it's less iconic. And really, he's never really used it again. So I would give it a very high B or a low A.
Yeah, I was thinking mid-tier B.
Yeah, but I could be A'd if you guys want to be an A, and I would say somebody should throw in something there.
Yeah, I don't think it deserves anything more than a B. That's exactly where I was thinking of putting it from the beginning. So I'm glad you.
Good overall shape.
Yeah. And I do love when these are transparent for the tier list. That looks so cool. All right.
Hey, thanks, Donnie.
Force is strong with this.
The force is strong.
What is next? I just grabbed one randomly, and it is the U-Wing.
The other Rogue One ship, which I can jump on. So this one's a weird one because it's the custom sort of. Not freighter, but it's a personnel transport. They invented Rogue One, which took the people from A to B with K2SO and Cassian Andor. The wings go hyper out and stay in, depending. It's the hyperspace mode. They go out. It was the first model I ever was given as a model rip from Battlefront, so I remember having to deal with the conversion. And also finished it at Marie's house, and I was like, oh, my shitty laptop, I can now see it. It worked. Kind of, sort of. So I have that memory, so I know it quite well. I don't love it. Your thoughts? I'll stop there and let you jump in.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it either. It's like a personnel transport. Somebody in the chat here, who is it? Yeah, Sergeant Montgomery. It's like a Huey helicopter. Yeah, it's very much like that inside for troop transport because it fits like 6 to 8 troops kind of thing. I do like the interior cockpit design. Not a huge fan of the gimmick of the wings. Like when they're swept back, it looks kind of cool. But when they're forward, I mean, it still looks kind of cool, but I don't understand the purpose of why it has to do that. And this is actually an interesting one, too, for me, because one of the very first VR things I played was the X-Wing thing on the Battlefront 1 game, because there's a X-Wing mission in VR, and you have to actually follow one of these. So I got to see it in all different angles and stuff, which was quite interesting. But... yeah, Star Wars ships just have things for things' sake, I guess. Because, like, why the movable wings? I don't understand.
Well, hyperspace, not hyperspace.
I know, but
aerodynamic. I think is it
aerodynamic in space?
No, it's a landing craft.
It is.
So one of the few things actually be landing.
Yeah.
Okay, what's it called? A U-wing.
Yeah, I do like the wings. You can tell it's made by the same company that does the X-Wing.
Well, it's also just because it's a wing ship. A-wing, B-wing, therefore it has to have movable wings.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but A-wings don't. First and foremost, okay. This is actually a question with 2 answers as to why it has movable foils. The out universe and in universe. So usually the out universe one and the simplest comes first, and Starship design in Star Wars puts an effort into making each easily distinguishable designs from each faction culture. Okay. And thus movable wings have become iconic. Okay.
Uh-huh.
They expel the heat of the engines and make the deflector shield better. In atmosphere, they have to swoop forward again because they make the U-wing aerodynamically unstable. Or at least that's the universal explanation. In reality, it's just for looks.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I guess.
No, this one is it's an interesting design. It was cool to see a new kind of design for Star Wars, but yeah, for me this is a C.
Where in the C category?
I'd say low C.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't look very nice, and its function does not follow its form. Right? It's just it is for the sake of is.
I'm looking at it from this angle. You'd never tell what it's for. This is like the personnel transport, essentially.
Yeah.
The bottom has a different look to it.
Yeah, like I like the inside, and I sort of like it's a 2-tier, but it's just kind of ugly and spindly. It's both too bulky and also too thin. In that too bulky at the back and too thin at the front. I would say a very high D or a low C because I just dislike it as a general design.
I think it's got enough. See, there's some design features about it I really like. That's why I said low C. So if you're happy to put it in low C,
like I say, audience to put your voice in, but it's definitely my least favorite Rebel ships. Like it hasn't, apart from it's just its movable thing, it hasn't got much personality, which is odd because it's a troop. It should have a lot of personality, but it really doesn't. It's weird.
Well, if the idea was to make it like the Huey gunship from Vietnam, put some side guns on the side, like the big guns hanging out the side of the Huey chopper.
What's funny is I think if they'd made the front wings like 70% less, so they just pop out slightly, and then give them some slight side wings. So kind of do both at the same time. It would look really cool because it'd be kind of like back heavy, but means fast.
Yeah,
sort of zippy. I think that would be a substantial. But
I think with the wings forward, it's got a good proportionality like that. But when they put the wings back swept, I mean that looks cool, but I think they're too long.
Just don't like either. But Ray has thrown in with his perk freebie. U-wing is C tier. The man has spoken.
All right. That's fair enough. And he's agreeing with me, so I'm happy about that.
Because you guys are the final deciders until we stop at the end. So have your thoughts.
All right. Next up, the Razor Crest. Yeah. This is an interesting one because when I first saw this, I didn't like it. Kind of like the Cerritos. But the more I saw it, the more I loved it. And interior-wise, functionality-wise, it's fantastic. Cockpit, it's got a washroom, it's got a little sleeping area, it's got carbonite storage and a carbonite freezing thing. Armory wall. It's a shame this got destroyed. I got a model of it right over there. Yeah, this is a really, really cool ship. And somebody pointed out on Facebook the other day that it looks exactly like the one ship from
Firefly.
No, it doesn't look like that. Battle Beyond the Stars.
Oh yes, the red one with the bulbous things.
It looks exactly like that. Even though that one looks more like it has boobs on it with the way it's designed, but it's got the same high up engines. It's got the same look overall, and I'd never noticed that before. Now I can't unsee it. But
it is a very simple profile, right? Like it's not doing much. It's the subtlety of what it's doing that it's doing. So that shape has been done before, etc.
And Kyle Wong throws in 5 pounds. The U-wing is B because it's in Rogue One, the only good Star Wars film Disney made.
Oh, half of it is. Half of Rogue One's good.
Bump it up to B then.
You guys have the say-so. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. But yeah, the Razor Crest is going to get an S tier. It died before its time. But I think it's a really cool ship. I'm not a big fan of its replacement. I mean, I am and I'm not. That's a whole other discussion.
Which we'll get into in our part 2 if you guys like this and support it. Yeah, it's funny. Like that one's great.
No, this one, the replacement's in this list.
As I said, which you'll see later in this list. As I said, Stuart.
Yes.
So yeah, this one is gorgeous in a sort of non-gorgeous way. Like it's a silver blocky thing, but it is just the Firefly from Firefly. It's got all the same basic elements, shifted a bit.
Serenity from Firefly.
Yeah, like it's almost the same thing, even structurally what it does in the show. Like it's because guess what? That's a fucking gorgeous piece of art. This is a Star Wars version. It's not quite as dimensional as like Firefly, but also it's sweeping motion it's so flowy. But it's not meant to be this ultra specialist craft. That's what the guy either could afford, steal, or barter for.
It's old Imperial tech. It's old tech, and it can't be picked up by Imperial. There's a whole thing about it.
Yeah, it's an old cargo thingy. Fast, minimal guns, but enough. Armored, although it's very satisfying when the thing gets fucked by the Jawas, and you see the armor being taken off. It's like, oh, that's how much armor for the hull. Jesus, like it's not particularly armored. Lovely cockpit, great back area. Again, very, very simple, but the fact that we understand every area of it makes it so relatable compared to the Falcon, which is kind of a maze, and the interior does not fit inside the exterior perfectly, so it is kind of an oddity. This actually does. And there's
different interpretations of what's inside the Falcon exactly as well. So
yeah, but
this is another thing functionality wise. The back ramp, plus it's got a side ramp.
Yeah,
it's
and a gun rack.
It's just there's a lot going, and I love the cockpit. Love the cockpit design as well. So
yeah, it ticks all the boxes. It's not the prettiest, but it feels incredibly crafted and designed while being simple, and that is actually, let's be honest, more like the classic old school thing, but with a certain neatness where it doesn't need to have thousands of greeblies. But for me, absolutely an S, because I just enjoy the shapes, I enjoy the ship. We can include interior if there's anything else fair. And it's just very nice. And I both got obviously the Star Wars model from the collection, but also there was a plastic version I saw at one of our supermarkets. And I was like, I don't need to buy myself toys, but I really need a Razor Crest that's 50% bigger than the other one. So I have a nice, much like a prop, because this is a great scale of a ship, and the metal one was like, it's like, I don't know. But I wish I
had room and had got the HasLab version, which is large.
Oof. Yeah, the big ones.
Interior.
Big ones are very impressive. Even the Lego ones, there's like 3 different Lego interpretations, and they all have unique selling points. But yeah, there's definitely one I'll when I get my new background, you guys it'll be there in some form, because it's definitely one I like a lot.
All right, so it's going to S tier, and I know Wick Space says Razor Crest is not even a fighter. It is though. He's modified it with guns, and it's very maneuverable. Technically not a fighter, but it is.
It would not be a list had we looked at ranked freighter cargo ships. There'd be like 6. So this is all small craft.
Yeah.
To make it far more interesting.
Just a little too big. There we go.
Yeah.
Fit right in there, all nice and snug. There you go. There you go, Razor Crest. All right.
Hi, Jason.
What is next, do we think? I don't know. Let's just grab one.
Let's find out. And you can jump on this one. Oh, there you go.
It's its replacement. Okay. Here's the thing. The Razor Crest had a lot of functionality, especially for somebody like Mandalorian, who is a bounty hunter. This one, I love this episode when they introduced this, because it's a hot rod. It's got an engine sticking out of the hood. He even gets almost pulled over by the cops. I'm just testing the new build kind of thing. And I can relate to that, because I drive a muscle car, and if you put on a new part, you want to take it for a drive to make sure that it's working properly. I thought that was hilarious. I never was a fan of the Naboo Starfighter, which... the Naboo designs are quite unique. They're quite retro, like aerodynamically. I just never was a fan of it. When I saw this, I wasn't super happy. I hate the bump on the back for the bubble that they put for where the droid goes. I don't like that. And this is not functionally good for a bounty hunter who's going to be on long trips. If he catches his bounty, where does he store them? In the back little bubble? Like
in the grave, Stuart.
Where does he sleep?
In the
maybe in his chair.
Yeah.
Where's his armory? Where's his carbonite freezing facility? Like, this is cool as if it was attached to the top of the Razor Crest as like a ship you can use, like your motorhome. You take your motorhome and you have your car behind it, so when you park your motorhome, you can take the car places. It would work for that. I don't like that this is his new ride. That being said, I do like the modifications they made to it from the regular Naboo Starfighter. The silver's nice, the bigger guns on the front, even the souped up engine. But to have no engine housing on the sides, it's fine. I wouldn't want to be in this as a bounty hunter because I have a feeling it's not as robust as the Razor Crest would be, especially in a battle or a fight. Yes, it's probably way more maneuverable, but anyway. So I love this, and I'm not a huge fan of it all at the same time. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this was a giant treat when that was that Mandalorian or was it Boba Fett? Was it Boba Fett episode they converted into Mandalorian episode? Was it that one? Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was one of the best episodes anyway, because it had Luke, all that stuff. Fantastic. But to see the prequel trilogy be actually represented nicely was so goddamn rare. Obviously, they had to build this as a physical entity, so that was nice to them build it. I really like the original Naboo Starfighter. It's interesting, it's fun, it's flowy, it's cool, it's stylish, but still pew-pewy. This is, like I said, hot rodded up and silvered, and you see all the details. It's very much what they aimed for, which is we supercharged a very specialist, very efficient in-atmosphere fighter, and I guess space, small, short-range fighter, into a hyperdrive beast. And yes, you're 100% right, it can do nothing except fly and shoot. But what has Mandalorian been doing since his Season 1 debut? Sure. He has been flying and shooting and talking. Not much bounty huntering, since he found his greater purpose. So structurally speaking, this works fine. And to have that little bubble to see Grogu is fun. It does what he needs to do now, but yes, it's pulled a lot away from it. But it's it's a fun reinvention of a classic. I don't like this as much as the original one because they just like the yellow and silver. Just like that combination really well. But I'd give us a strong C. My gut, because it's a fun one-off that it's an only good scenes that I've seen.
Ray Ricks, 5 pounds, converted Naboo Starfighter S tier.
Oh, well, that becomes C to B.
Yeah, I was going to say B myself for it, so I'm happy to put it at B.
B it up then.
Have you seen Season 3 yet?
Still not. I make my own stuff, Stuart. That's the annoyance.
Well, because I want to say something about its function.
Okay, hold on. Bloop, there you go. Go for it.
Okay, one of the cool but weird things about it again is that bubble, which is atmospheric, pressurized for Grogu. They put R5 in it later, so they take the bubble off, which I don't think that, first of all, a droid would really fit in there. That's just the other thing that bothers me. Yes, their dome comes off or extends up or whatever, which is kind of stupid. But anyway, that kind of bugs me a little bit too. But anyway, all right, we're good to have him back now. Doesn't want to be spoiled.
And then they all died. Wait, what? Oh no, Stuart, what? How could you spoil it?
We'll put it to B tier.
Yeah, yeah. It's silly in a good way. And again, it's not what you think they'd do, but they did it. Which makes it certainly fun.
All right. Next up.
This is the
T-16
Skyhopper. Yes. Now, clarification. I don't know if this is actually it's meant to be old, but it was introduced in the original trilogy. That's where you think of it as from, even though it obviously be an older.
Yeah.
Of course, right? But we'll take it as read that it's meant to be roughly the era, because that's how it's sort of presented. So, Stuart, what do you think?
This is also a Skyhopper. I think this is for an atmosphere only. There is a gun mounted on the bottom of this one.
Okay.
This is used in the Rebel Assault game. This is one like your first training vehicle, where you got to learn how to pilot and you got to go through a canyon with it. So, and we talk. They always talk about. Well, they don't always talk. Luke said he bullseyed swamp rats with this thing. So, and you see one in his hangar at the back there. So, it's not really military grade anymore. As Sam said, it's probably a much older design, and it definitely feels like it. But it also doesn't feel like it's very capable as a starfighter. It feels more like a low atmosphere kind of patrol ship or something.
Or if it's designed for that, over other things, and it would in theory be better at it because it's designed for in atmosphere. You know. Yeah. Conceptually.
And I don't know if it's a one person or two person. You can see one person on this side. I don't know if there's another seat on the other side or how that works exactly. But it's not a large craft, and it's quite a unique design. I love Luke's little model he was playing with.
Iconic for a reason.
Yep. I think it was probably one of the prototypes they had made, and they just decided not to use it. So here, play with this.
Yep. I would not doubt.
So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I like it, but I'm not sure where it's going to rank necessarily.
Yeah, I think it's a nice, gentle craft, right? It's again really quite different. Although still being Star Warsy, although now doing this, it's like, oh, is that just? You know, it has an Imperium there, but you know, shuttle Imperium. There you go. Like it has actually that vibe. Now I'm looking, it's like, oh yeah, before they did that, they did this, right? But as a in atmosphere thing, yeah, giant gun, fast, zippy looking front. Yeah, it's cool. It's simple, but it's cool.
I'm going to zoom in on it because Benjamin Stone asked, what's the scale of the pilot? You can see the pilot in the cockpit there. Hold on. Like you can see the pilot visible there. It is very small, yeah.
And no cockpit like glass, car. I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, I think there's supposed to be glass for sure, but
doesn't necessarily have to be if it's you know. Yeah, I like it. It's original, it's different, it's interesting. I'll give us a I want to give it because I like it more than the U-Wing, but obviously that was moved because of everything else. I think the overall shape is a bit cooler than the Snowspeeder, but the fact that the Snowspeeder has all the lore, detail, we've seen the hero models, like that should win because it's got all the other stuff to it. But it's still a cool shape, right? What do you think?
Yeah, and you can tell it's made by the same company that makes the Tiberium shuttle, and possibly Krennic's as well.
Where's your gutting to?
For overall design, it'd be higher, but I think for just how it was used in universe, I mean, and yeah, it has been used in side canon and legacy and
not
games
a lot,
and stuff
though,
as well.
I don't think.
Not a whole lot, but you do see it occasionally.
Yeah.
I kind of want to throw it at a C tier for right now, and
yeah.
But you said you liked it more than the U-Wing, so you wanted to.
But the U-Wing got moved, not by us.
So you want to put it as a high C?
Yes. Yeah, I want to put it as a C, and then we'll see. Well, we'll see. I want to put it as a C because I think C is very fair, but it is a cool design. I think you could justifiably have it a little bit higher. So if you guys feel strongly, let us know.
Yeah, I think C is good for now.
And it would be cool to see, you know, it in an actual live action. That'd be cool. I'd like to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Might as well get this one out of the way because I know you don't have anything to say about it.
Oh. Yes, this one I have nothing to say about.
Yeah, this is from Ahsoka. This is the baddies fighter. And when they're flying, they've got like a tail fin almost, which you can't really see in this picture. But they look like World War II jets. Or not jets, fighter planes, I mean. I kind of like the design to see a couple of them in formation flying and dodging fire. It looks very World War II. And just put a propeller on the front and change the orientation of the wings a little bit, and you got one. So they're pretty maneuverable, pretty well represented in the show. and yes, they look older design for sure. Color scheme almost implies Nabooian, if that's a word. But I'm not sure if they are, because it doesn't have the sleekness, unless it's an older Naboo design, because it does look like an older type of vessel.
Or it's a newer one they've then changed and kitbashed a la Mandalorian, but obviously in its own unique way. Butchered over years.
Yeah. So I like the uniqueness of this one, but it does feel like a much older ship, like from a different era.
There's anything it does in the show that's a non-spoiler that's interesting, that sets it apart? Or is it just a design for design?
They're very maneuverable. Yeah, it's just design for design, but they're very maneuverable, and they do seem quite powerful with the weapons that they're firing. So it just it feels like an old like World War II Hellcat or something. So so for me, as much as I love the design, as far as Star Wars goes, to put your logical spin on it, I like the design. I'm willing to put this at a D to kind of just give us a scattering across the board. So, plus you haven't seen Ahsoka yet, so
yeah. I mean, it's so its own thing, right? So therefore, you can't just go by aesthetics. Don't love the way it looks, but I get the logic of everything you said. But for me, it looks not particularly good, so I would be happy with a D. I think you could easily move it higher if you love the design, because it's so...
Personally, if going bias wise, I'd put it at a C, but I
think the elegance of the Skyhopper there. But it's not trying to, of course.
In motion, they are pretty cool though. And I'm a sucker for World War II like plane design.
I think the irony is you wouldn't say it was Star Wars, and then you thought, oh yeah, rustic, almost not sci-fi. That's like Star Wars, but you wouldn't say, oh, it's a Star Wars design. But then, yeah, funny that.
So we'll throw it a D for now.
But negotiable higher if you guys feel ways about it. As is always with these things, you're all welcome to feel ways. We encourage feeling ways, in fact.
Just realized we've done like 2 Imperials, and that's it so far.
We might get lots of...
But now it's 3.
Oh, yes, this is the TIE Pew Pew. So I can't remember the name of this, but it's a Rogue One variant, solo variant that chases them through the rift. So it's a gunship version, basically. So yeah, TIE fighter with a gun. I rather like it, actually. I
do too. There's a wide variety of different TIE variants, especially in Legends. I like it. It feels more buff and more armored for sure as well around the cockpit.
Yes, actually. Can you put a normal TIE fighter next to it, actually? I don't know if it is, but I think that is very likely they did put a second round of armor. I think you're absolutely right.
Oh, we could put the... Where the hell is it? I'm looking.
That does instantly change the vibe. You are very, very right.
Yeah, it just looks beefier and stockier.
Well, then that one for sure. No, that's TIE Advanced Mark 1.
There we go.
Yes, but not in the way I was thinking. Yeah, it's extended out the first rung of detail to be double as thick, which does change. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. Oh, and also the front's different as well. They've more detail.
Yeah, different glass detail. It seems to be tighter. It just seems like the TIE fighters would break easier. That seems a little bit more resilient.
Yeah. Interesting. Let me go look for it. What do you think, Stuart? I rambled a little bit there.
Not the biggest fan of the asymmetrical look. I wish there was those guns on each side of the cockpit. But aside from that, I mean, for me, this would be a C tier probably. Ray Ricks, 5 pounds. Fiend Fighter, C tier. Very World War II. It would fit the aesthetic well for the episodes. Okay, well, I want to bump that up then.
So this is called a TIE Brute.
TIE Brute.
Yes. Or heavy TIE fighter.
Well,
but TIE
the name makes sense, yeah. It does look like a brute.
Yes. Let's have a look.
Well, I think for me, it's probably a C tier design.
Things I think in functionality, this should be an A, because it makes TIE Fighter so much more deadly. And if you saw this coming at you, I think you'd be far more nervous on TIE Fighter, obviously for obvious reasons. But it has a stockiness that I really like. I would say a gentle B, because I think its form follows its function. That I rather like. Having you also noted out the thicker pylons, as it were. I kind of rather like it. So guys, you decide without an impasse. Do you think it should be a B or a C? So it was proposed for Force Awakens, and instead put in they needed a lead TIE fighter, and this was the one they picked for Solo instead. So you guys choose B or C.
So one person with Super Chat can clinch it, or if you just guys want to vote in the regular chat, we will go with whatever's in the lead. I didn't even notice our cars were Star Wars. That's awesome.
Yes.
Nice. But our tier list is not. It is very Star Trek.
We're melding the universes, Stuart.
We need to get one made. We need a tier list made that's Star Wars.
That's not a you or me thing, Stuart. Computer! Oh, he's not here. Oh.
I'll talk to the computer later.
Hello, computer.
So we got 2 B's and a C.
Buck. Yeah, I think it's a nice logical, because unlike some of the other newer TIE things, I think this just adds a... Yeah. Especially if it still has its main cannons. Because these, I mean, considering that normal cannons, the little red dots at the bottom of the TIE Fighter, these things are giant, beefy cannons. I'm assuming they are significantly higher firepower. This thing can just wreck. Versus, a few of these jumping in would be like, oh dear. And like TIE Bomber, which you associate being a heavy weapons ship, it bombs down, right? TIE Advanced is the same as a TIE Fighter, but it's got slightly stronger normal guns, but they're still not the size of these guns. So this must be then a heavy gun, so I wonder what it can do punch-wise, because I don't know a comparable version of TIE Fighter that has similar armaments.
Tim Rose says SEZ, one of the best.
Well, first Super Chat clinches it. We'll give you guys another minute or two.
And hit like while you're at it. 38 of you here, which is awesome. If you're not usually here because we do Star Trek stuff, I'm sorry, but we do a lot of Star Wars stuff too. So welcome.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello there. Yes.
Tim Rose says that thing is an A tier is an F. What? Oh, that thing in A tier is an F.
Ouch.
Well, that's just its wings are in the started folding position.
Oh, it's a classic TIE Fighter with a little bit extra.
Yes.
Well, I would not have remembered it from the show, I'll be honest. Had I not been looking for every possible variant. Doesn't necessarily stand out too much.
Yeah, I never assumed it was anything special, honestly. I just thought it was a regular TIE Fighter.
But that's what I was doing. It was deliberately being able to fold, Stuart. That's his thing. You can do it. That's his thing.
Is it, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone making the decision?
So far, B's winning because we got 2 votes for B.
A few seconds, guys.
Tim Rose, it's Moff Gideon's one from Mandalorian. That just lands and the wings fold, and it's got like landing legs. It's a little bit different than a regular TIE Fighter.
So what would you have given this without prompting?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give a C.
Let's just throw in a C because people aren't necessarily jumping in too much. But I think this might improve compared to other ties later.
B is winning. Oh, C maybe. Okay, well, put in C for now.
Yes. Super Chats do not have it. Super Chats do not have it. But I'm glad you noticed the side being different. That's cool.
Yeah. All right.
And currently the poll results are, with 46 votes, who has the best designs? 57% say Rebels, but given that was in the 80s when we started, 43% Empire, that number has grown.
Interesting. So go vote on the poll and hit like, everybody, if you haven't already. All right, next up is Ahsoka's ship,
which I don't know much about. So throw in the thought process. What
this thing's super cool. the wings and the rotate to be sideways as well, which it depends on what it's doing necessarily. But there's a lot of room in the back as well. It's a very comfy looking ship inside, and the cockpit is very, very interesting. I can forget what it's called, but again, I don't know what it is with Star Wars ships and just having things move for the sake of moving. I don't know the exact purpose for why this does move, but when it's in flight and it is bobbing and weaving between stuff, it actually looks super cool. So,
as a noise to end on. I mean, for me, this obviously is more Clone Wars-y, and we're going to have a couple of those, but it was in the Imperial era, and you'll assume anything under the sun. It could be new, old, refurbished, whatever, right? But it's seen as Ahsoka's post-Empire, so there you go. For me, it's a bit gimmicky. It feels like a bit gimmicky. I'm not the biggest fan of tall ships, I guess. I know it can become wide, but some of the reference I saw was of this configuration, and it just sort of spins. And as I say, it does not have form follows function; it just has form equals form. The function is that it moves, but it doesn't obviously need to move, does it? Similar to the hero ship from the Jedi Survivor, Jedi, those games. It's the same thing. I don't think the ship looks overly nice because just look, it's tall with a cockpit in the middle. It's don't love it very much. The colour's nice, but that's not a big thing. I would honestly give this a D in terms of personal preference.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh, there you go.
Dan says it moves for landing. Yeah, but then just build the thing horizontal.
Yes.
All the time.
All the time.
There's no need.
No.
Anyway.
And if you can't dodge weapon blasts by just doing... You don't go... Yeah, just personal preference, but... No...
Looks like a sailfish.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't get what it's there for. It says to me as if it's a Clone Wars, center ship. They just want to be fancy. That's it. The centers are allowed to go flying, so it's like spinning while their centrifuge stays still. Personal preference, if you disagree. Yes.
Yeah. Just make the cockpit move.
So there's a Jedi transport. I mean, the other Jedi ships didn't move. They were just... Those are great designs. I mean, those were fighters, but they were great designs. This is not.
It moves its wings vertical if it docks sideways. Sure, for docking to another ship, I get it. But at the same time, just have your docking port on the bottom. And I don't know.
Yeah, the solution to a docking port is not to build the ship to rotate.
Yeah.
Just build a docking port in a different place. There's a lot of things. Okay, it was in Clone Wars, but I thought it might have been.
Yeah. All right.
So
that's that.
I thought you were fighting on that, so I was kind of surprised.
No, not a big fan of especially that configuration.
Yeah.
When it's flying and moving and it's horizontal, it's kind of cool looking. But
okay. This is me this time. Oh yes, the B-wing, which is a vertical but not a vertical. This is cool. I've always liked this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is in Star Wars Squadrons. So I've flown some of these in VR, and they all have different purposes. This one, the configuration always bothered me as a kid. I didn't understand why it did this. I still don't really. The cockpit rotates on this, which is fine.
Says if there's around it.
Yeah. I just wouldn't want to fly it through anything or like around anything because I'd be afraid to be clipping it. Same with the Falcon, actually. You can't see like 90% of your ship.
There aren't wing mirrors. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very powerful as far as weapons go, and yeah.
See, this one makes sense to me because, in terms of why it's a weird configuration, because it folds up and goes sideways to land, where it's just simple. It goes on two legs. It's got the most mass to be on some legs, easy, and then it turns upwards to be attack. Makes sense. There's not some weird fanciness to it. It's just land, because landing this would be a bloody nightmare as a up like that nightmare, right? So that makes sense. It's actually very structural. I like this one quite a bit because it feels very capable. That many guns, big guns, cockpit's even bigger. I like the intake. It's very, very unique. Considering, you know, the A-wing is so small and nimble and the guns are so small, this is like, yes, we're gonna bring some big boys to the yard. Never really got a sense from any media how much more powerful, because it's not a bomber. But I don't think of it as a fighter in terms of like, it's not. That's not how they ever use it in the shows. It doesn't hyperspace in as like, hey, look, fighter squadron. It's like it's got a slightly more specialist purpose. But it's just got more weapon. Like it's a nebulous like heavy fighter, but then super unique. Because obviously the Rebellion, they're using whatever they can find. So they've just got some of these from, you know, and repurpose them into be weapon ships or whatever, or sort of the ilk. But it's original and different, and I would give this personally a very high B, negotiable to A, but I would say B.
I was thinking B the whole time. It is the V-wing. Speaking of, you are missing one ship on that list.
Ooh.
On our list here.
Okay, what am I missing?
The Y-wing.
The Y-wing.
Yep.
You're saying that, and it's not ringing a bell.
Oh my goodness! Seriously?
Oh, is it not? I added stuff. I was so preoccupied remembering to add the real version for the Clone Wars era. I didn't add the original version. Okay. Typical. So obviously this is the stripped down shitty version.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second.
So we're going to put the B-wing in B tier.
Yeah. And it's funny to go from, it's probably, you could say, hypocritical to go from a turning ship and complain to a turning ship and be positive, but I think I gave strong reasons why I feel that way.
Well, the other one, the entire ship body rotates instead of just the cockpit. Cockpit makes a lot more sense. It always kicked ass in the games. It was so fun. Yeah, it's got... Yeah.
The pew pew factor is high.
I can't remember what the advantages of using it in squadrons. I know what the advantage of using the Y-wing is, and the X-wing, and the A-wing. B-wing, I can't remember why you'd want to choose that.
Well, if you didn't play it enough because it wasn't interesting enough, then you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Yeah. No, I've always thought it was an interesting design. I just never understood why it was called a B-wing either.
Well, that should be a Y-wing.
Well, no,
it's
it
a
should be
Y.
called a T-wing. It's a T. But the reason it is called a B-wing, there is a reason, because it looks like a knife with a handle. So it's a blade. That's the B-wing designation they gave it. Yeah. Everything else looks like what it's supposed to. But yes.
I do not approve of that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
All right, guys, hit that like button. 42 of you here, 35 likes. That's pretty good, but we can get those likes up to 40. Let's do it. If anything's jumping out at you that you don't agree with on the list, you can move it. We want your interaction, and your super chats do help the channel. So if you can, please do so. We'd appreciate that immensely.
And supporting this one means we'll do more of the other Star Wars ships, because you guys want to see it.
There's some here you're not going to see, and you're going to be like, why isn't that there? It's because this isn't the era that we're covering today. That's why. So, yeah. Yeah.
Next, where are we going in this pantheon of weird?
Of weirdness, man. Whoa. Go with this one next.
What's his name? Darth Vader's TIE.
The Advanced TIE.
Mark II, because they've now made a Mark I. What do you think about it, Stuart?
I mean, I don't know. It's just a beefier TIE fighter. Like, I do like the slanted wings. I like that there's more bulk at the back as well. Like the main body is just more robust as a whole. But I would think Darth Vader would have something cooler. I always wondered why he had a special one and no one else had one when I watched the movies when I was a kid. Just because he was Darth Vader, he needed a cool ship. But yeah, I don't understand the exact purpose for the advanced TIE.
Well, it has hyperspace and shields.
Well, there you go. Those are the reasons.
Yeah, that's what the back unit is. Because it's so odd. If you actually break down what most of the TIE Armada is, it's the exact same TIE body. Everything around it is different. And in fact, when I got the physical version of this from the collection, I'm assuming they printed it, kitted it off some very accurate version. But there's actual like tiny little cutouts that, if you think about it from a perspective of clipped on a hyperdrive unit, you could see the seam line of like, oh, they just clipped on a unit to an existing TIE fighter and put bigger wings to make room. And that's what they would have done for the most part, right? Because it's a multi-purpose, not kit bashy, but I see the logic of we can invest some money into making this better. So we did. But what's funny is it's so much less elegant to me than a TIE fighter. But I do really like the folded wing configuration. And I like the conceptual strength of it. But it's only in one film, and it goes out like a bitch. And then he lives. Like, okay, goodbye. Never used again in any form. Like, really. It you know what I mean? It's odd in that regard. It's like, and here's a cool one. Goodbye.
I mean, if I've got shield in hyperspace, I would just make all the TIE fighters like this so that you don't.
Well, that's what the TIE
throwing away your crew.
But it's so much more expensive, obviously. Like form follows function. I love it, but it takes away that sleekness. But yeah, of course, because it's got more function.
Yeah. This one for me, I'd want to give an A tier. It's just class. It's a classic staple of sci-fi. This one, because it's Darth Vader's TIE fighter. You know. Yes, you're right. We haven't seen it really again.
There's some Rebels, I think, for a couple of fun. Yeah, he had it. Yeah, I would get ration A, because my brain loves the form and my brain loves the function, even though it likes the form less, but it appreciates that so much that it wants to give a lot of credit.
In Tezangari, you are correct. Yes, Vader's TIE was a prototype and a one-off. Yes.
Well, they could have made a second one-off, of course.
Yes. I would assume that Anakin specifically asked for changes because he's a good pilot. So he's like, this is my personal project.
Yeah. Yet being told he can't change the mold very much of a TIE fighter. Yeah. But I would really have loved to have seen it in the future, in the subsequent films, doing anything and get a sense of how powerful it was, because it in theory could have been incredible.
You can also assume that it might have like concussion missiles or something like, because there's more bulk in those side pillars, right? So I could see there being like a couple missiles in each side. Regular TIE fighters don't have that.
Yeah, very possible.
Ray Ricks, 5 pounds, advanced TIE, A tier. There you go. Yes. A for advanced.
I think it's worth that. It's a good, like I said, the function outbeats the form, but the form ain't bad. It's just not quite as classic. But you got to take all these different things into account when you do this. The humble TIE fighter. This
TIE? Oh, TIE stands for Twin Ion Engine. As a kid, I always thought it was because it was shaped like a bow tie, but I was wrong.
Oh, very reasonable assumption. Now, is this? I'll preamble. Is this the best TIE fighter because it is the OG?
Yes.
Okay. Is it just because the OG, or because you think it's the best?
Actually, it's not the best. I think the TIE Interceptor is probably the best.
Okay.
But again,
I got him off that hill very quickly, didn't I, guys? I did it. Yeah. I did it.
The simple shapes in this are Like you see the prototype one, which is just literally a ball, 2 cylinders, and then these wings. I'm glad they didn't use that. First of all, they did modify it so that there's a canter on the pillars and stuff, which I appreciate. But yeah, this I would not want to fucking fly this. Again, I've flown this in squadrons, and you're sitting there in a chair with like controls here, and then like a bubble into space with no shields. And you look up and there's like 4 little windows in the top, and it's just it's really cool in VR, don't get me wrong, but I would not want to be a pilot in one of these. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just classic, iconic sci-fi simplicity.
Yes.
And Moff Gideon's is a slight improvement, I guess, because like the wings fold.
Well, from a build point of view, from a practicality point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got to say about it right now.
Yeah, it's not the best, but it is the most classic, and that's the old. It's such a unbelievably iconic design. The sound design is tremendous. The color palette, making it blue, is so odd. Or I guess blue and grey varies a little bit, but blue. The radiators being this texture, all the little greebling of the housing, the ball, which feels so vulnerable, and yet obviously it's protected because it's in between 2 giant slabs of. So it isn't, but it kind of is. The fact that it lands on its own wings, but then your brain says that'll damage them. But it's metal, it's fine. Like all these little things go on with it. And I say, how do you get out of it? Well, you don't. That's why but it's designed to dock and with specific things. Makes sense. Cockpit, yeah, I've seen interior, and it's not the best view in the world. And in fact, the actual metal of the does block your view in itself.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. But then seeing, I've done a few animations, but not a ton of TIE Fighter. But seeing that red glow of the inside is menacing, coming in, the green of the pulses, it's iconic. And the fact that it's designed to be intentionally bottom of the barrel, cheap, mass producible, quick to fix, suicide. Easily fixable. There's a real fun to that because it feels as simple as it is. It's intentional.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to give this an S for legacy, and this is a very effective single unit fighter in terms of like visually. And also, if a slew of them came at you, you would not feel like you were having a good day. So, despite the technical improvements of the other one, having just spoken all that nonsense, yes, I want to give it.
And considering all the times I've seen squads of these coming at my ship, not only in squadrons, but in like Rebel Assault, and Rebel Assault 2, and all the games I've played over the years, and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. And, you know what I mean? Like,
we've all fought them, and that should be meaningful in this. Because
you get an S.
Well, but it's funny, we've all fought them. Like, everyone here has fought them at some point in a game somewhere, I'm sure. It's kind of mad when you think about it. But yeah, it's iconic. And it is so tremendously simple, which shows you don't need over-engineering to be effective. And that's probably a lesson for other things. But then again, there's not that many simple designs. There's a certain... this just works, right?
Yeah. It's worth pointing out, too, that, as he says, it's a short-range fighter. It is. But have you seen Eric Henry's video on this, where there's like a hyperdrive like ring thing that clamps onto the front, and then when you come out, it just pops off, just like the Jedi Starfighters almost in their hyperspace rings.
Well, this was designed obviously just after that, so it's fun to see some stuff. Although you could easily have them argue that you could, if you're being a bit more fancy, have the wings come off and then attach the hyperspace ring, and you could give it a hyperspace ring, and that could be all you need in theory. You could argue.
Prince Alforian says, "I can hear that picture." Oh yes.
Yeah.
The scream.
Yeah. Sometimes simple does just work. Yeah.
But there's no sound in space. No, but that's what they hear inside the cockpit of all the machinery doing its things. All right, next up, we got the A-Wing. Okay, here's the deal.
Oh.
I've always hated the A-Wing. Never been able to forgive it for the death of my boy.
Hope you're going there.
Yeah. I hate the way this looks. I've never liked the A-Wing. And in squadrons, this is the one to have. It's the most maneuverable. It's the toughest. It can take a pummeling and doesn't get destroyed. And it's pretty powerful with its weapons. Second toughest, actually. But it is the one that people prefer when you go into multiplayer. You'll see these flying around all the time, and I don't know why. I'd rather have some style and go with an X-Wing or a Y-Wing if you really want to win. Although they're slower and clunkier. These are fast and maneuverable. And I've never liked them. I've never liked the A-Wing. It's so simple a design. It just doesn't grab me at all. It looks like a door wedge. But yeah, that's my take on it. I've never liked the A-Wing. But I understand where it fits into the iconography of Star Wars. So I'm not going to throw it at the bottom of the list. Let's put it that way.
So this might be a super chat decider in that help Stuart force it to raise up. Oh no, what a shame. Have your voice heard, etc. Yeah, this one's funny because I like the general design. Again, it's super different. Like how integrated it is. It very much feels, in the sense I'm about to express, it feels like the Battlestar Galactica OG fighter, that it's just a cockpit with engines. This has a similar feel. It is a cockpit. The front, I guess, has the tech to fly the damn thing, and then there's just two engines, and it's so close. Everything is so close together. It's very, very compact. So I like that, but I'm also biased by the games I've used it with, in where it's so weak. It's fast but weak. I remember in Battlefront 2 in the space mode, which is phenomenal, you would get it if I died and I wanted to quickly get back to the opponent's capital ships. X-Wing would take too long to even get out of the bay. This, you just zoom, you go. You couldn't take many hits. The blasters are jack shit. You never expect to do anything with the guns because they were just pathetic. But you could zip into the thing. So for me, my expertise is that it can't shoot anything for shit. But it's a support craft, and if you can lower shields, whatever. But it's maneuverable, zippy, and you'd be hard pressed to hit it because it's just so small. But I like the curves. I like the hard edges as well. The fact the engine, for some reason, has a gap between the engine and a circle. I don't know. No, I like it. And I believe I picked as a ship that Emma flies in the Star Wars piece because it's just so unusual. I think. I'm trying to recall now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Benjamin Stone, 2 pounds. Could you do an E.C. Henry tier list at some point? Maybe.
Possibly.
We've had E.C. Henry on our show before.
Before he was E.C. Henry.
E.C. Henry, yeah.
Before he was, when it was just Eric Henry.
Yeah. Just Eric Henry, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For Pacific 201. So, Benjamin, if you haven't, I know you're newer to the channel, so if you haven't seen our interviews with Eric Henry, go check those out. Look them up.
He almost had more answers than we had questions sometimes, in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, that's the reason for this? Okay. Yeah, for me, this is happily a B. You would not agree with the B. Where would you
say A? But okay.
What do you mean? You slammed it for 10 minutes. What do you mean?
Just because I don't like it doesn't mean, like I said, there's a reason people pick it for squadrons. I'm just saying.
Gosh. You're curveballing me today, Stuart. Mike, I am not prepared for your curveballs.
I know.
They're slamming
generous today.
They're slamming in the face. Ow.
So that's why you lowered it to a B tier. You're going to put it as A tier. Like, he's not going to agree to that, so I'll put it as a B tier.
Well, I mean, some of that comes into it.
He's still going to fight me on it.
Well, yeah, a little bit that. Because it's weakness in my mental state. The fact I would never fly it for any reason makes it not feel practical compared to what else is an A. but B is where fun designs are. I would probably put high B because I you know, there's a certain coolness with the Snowspeeder. This is a different sort of cool, but it's just so less usable in many ways.
You've convinced me. It's a B tier.
Yeah. Well, okay then. But I think it's a stylist ship, so you can easily say it was an A for style points. But it's
not. See, that's why I wouldn't fly it myself. I want to fly something that looks cool, and I love the look of the X-wing. Anyway,
Prince, it doesn't bite like an X-wing. That's all the whole point. The X-wing has 4 high-powered turbo lasers and 2 ion torpedoes. This has 2 tiny lasers. So the whole point, it doesn't shoot. It's got like 1/6, if not 1/8 the firepower.
It does have concussion missiles, though. At least in
the bottom?
Squadrons, yeah. There's like slots for them.
Oh, I didn't know that. The ones I've shot haven't.
Yeah, I've got to go back and play. I haven't played Squadrons in a long time, so I can't remember why you pick each ship. But each ship is good for different things. So.
But if you disagree, super chat to move it. That's how this works. That's how this works. And then we rearrange at the end with contrast.
It bites like an X-wing, moves like a TIE Interceptor, and has shields as well. There you go. The concussion missiles make up for it. Yeah. Bring Squadrons back. You can still play Squadrons, man. I hopped on like 3 months ago and went into a multiplayer, and there's people playing, so. Plus the game. The gameplay is fun if you go through the story. All right. Next up.
Here we go next.
Wow, we got an S tier.
Oh, goodness. Ha! D.
What?
It's asymmetrical, Stuart.
It is.
Minus 1,000 points.
But I've been on board. I've been in the cockpit.
Talk about.
A lot of people probably have.
Talk about that for a second, Stuart. What was that like?
Smuggler's Run.
Because that's not. Most people don't get to say they've been on a fictional spacecraft. Just to point that out when you say it like that, you know.
Smuggler's Run at Disney. This was, well, first of all, when you walk to the back of Batuu, and there it is, just in all its glory. And as you're going through the wait line, which there wasn't really one, but you go behind it, you see the engines, then you go up a level, and you're overlooking the top of the whole ship is built, and you get a real sense of scale. You wouldn't think it's exactly that big, but also that small. It's weird. And then to get inside it, and you see the gaming table, and it's really awesome. The cockpit is also very roomy, way roomier than you'd expect from seeing it on TV or on a screen. I mean, but yeah, it's fantastic to actually go on it and to go to Smuggler's Run. If you haven't done it, I suggest doing it. Anyway, I've always liked the Falcon. I had the Hasbro one that I played with. I still have it. It's in a bin somewhere. But I was a stupid kid, and my toy's not as worth as much as it could be. Let's put it that way. It had battle damage when I was flying it, and I used a lighter and lit the front.
No, you made a 1 of 1 special edition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The part between the two mandibles, I lit on fire and was like, and then so now it's got this big melted part, and it's like.
Wow, past you wasn't thinking of future, was he?
No, and I could go back and kick myself in the ass. But anyway.
But I'd love to have your mum saying like, Stuart, did you just set the Falcon on fire? Yes, Mum. Oh, you idiot.
Oh, they didn't know. We have a 4.5 acre backyard. I was up back playing with it. Used to use gunpowder and like gasoline and make like things blow up. Anyway, that's beside
Whereas my garden is the size of your kitchen.
I know. Anywho, no, the Falcon is iconic for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think so. Like, it's supposed to be represented as a hunk of junk, but there's sometimes when it's flying and you see it maneuvering, it's just like that's such a beautiful looking ship, even though it's meant not to be.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh yeah.
And in the books that came after the movies, I mean, Han Solo and Princess Leia are married. They have kids. And he restores it back to like pristine condition. That was one of his things. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see that on screen. Instead, we get Lando's with the stupid escape pod thing between the mandibles, which looked incredibly dumb. It was great to see the nice clean interior though and stuff. So,
like, if you're doing an escape pod, why not have the cockpit detach and form a light pod?
Structurally, I don't know if that would work with this ship.
Well, I mean, but in the Lando version, you could argue it as a slightly different cockpit, and I'm saying like that to add it in the middle was dumb. Yeah, I mean, obviously iconic. Unlike most things, this was obviously given an extremely special attention to detail. It was obviously the hero ship of the piece. They spent a lot of time on it to build a almost full-sized exterior, which is used in many scenes, which is absolutely incredible to have scenes around it. Obviously, they would have grown to love it because you had to build it. And since the mandibles would be in at the cockpit, like, they all had to be fully thought out and then matched as close. The miniature in the big version. You also have the gun sequence where they're shooting at TIE fighters, so things that right up close. They knew it had to be a proper hero. So unlike most things in all sci-fi, it's got this absolutely amazing detail. And Greeblies can feel very random, but there's a certain elegance to the randomness. The fact there's holes and repair points and damage points and scarring and it's so much structure to it. I'm not normally the biggest fan of non-symmetrical, but of course this is one of the few exceptions where it's kind of balanced out enough that it doesn't feel asymmetrical. It feels like the center of gravity is more towards the cockpit, I suppose. Yeah, it doesn't feel that way, just the structure of it. And how often do you have a giant blue ring of engine at the back? That's pretty rare, and kick-ass.
And question, prefer round radar dish or rectangular?
Oh, round, yeah.
Hell yeah.
I mean, the square's fine, but
yeah,
this just works, I think, better as a shape. There's a reason they picked the style design, because it works properly. If you replace a works properly, works less properly, guess what you get? Works less properly.
And going to Wonderfest, I've seen so many different variations of this. Like, there are different configurations of the TY 1300, I think. Even one with like a cockpit in the center between the mandibles, which all makes more sense to me. Because, like I said, this would be a goddamn nightmare to drive. Because the pilot's way over on the right-hand side, and you got all this ship. And when they're flying through, like, the Death Star and stuff, like, seriously? Yeah. Must have super advanced sensors on that thing to know where the other side of your ship is.
Well, you say that, but the sentient AI robot that merged with the ship's computer, that's the secret sauce to piloting. Really, Lando's just holding a fake control interface to make him feel like he's doing something. It's really the AI computer's doing everything. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is an S tier. It's synonymously, iconically, legendarily iconic.
It's right up there with the Enterprise as being instantly recognizable.
Yep, and was for the opposite reason. It's detail and it's pretty darn fantastic.
All right, next up. Oh, I know where this is going. Boom, baby.
The Ghost.
Yeah.
From Rebels and Clones. I don't know. Yeah, this is the other Falcon, but not. I still far prefer the Ebon Hawk. But
okay, that's what I thought this was for a second. That's why I was like, I know where this is going.
No, Ebon Hawk is a several thousand-year-old. Yeah, this is the symmetrical Falcon. It's obviously trying to be similar, but not. It's actually different enough. It looks good in motion. I wish I had a 3D model of it, but I don't. They never put it in a game, so never got a ship of it. Never got a model of it, which is annoying. I know it also has a secondary craft. Yay. Also it's everything as hyperdrive if it wants, I don't think it's most aesthetically pleasing from a pure standpoint of like stop and look, but in motion and in flow it works really well. But that's not a gorgeous render, and I know that it was only ever done as a cartoon ship for the longest time, so the detail was simple, and then they made a photoreal version for Rogue One, in fact, as a Easter egg ship, and that was then used in Rise of Skywalker. So they did make a better version which looked nicer. This is obviously a sort of a hybrid version. What do you think?
I recently watched a YouTube guy that inserted this into some shots from Empire Strikes Back as like part of the fleet, and just and Return of the Jedi as well. Attack on the Death Star, but not like prominent. Like it's there, but you know, and I thought it looked really cool actually. We do see it. I believe this is the ship that's in Ahsoka.
Probably yes.
Yeah. You don't see it that often, but I think it's fine. It's definitely part of the Corellian design fleet. So
I don't know what it's trying to be. I don't know what it's trying to do different though. I don't know what the Falcon's trying to do specifically either. But I wonder what the in-universe. What does this do that the other one doesn't, or swap?
I'm not sure. That's one thing. I don't know the details on that kind of stuff.
I do like it, and I have fond memories of it in general. And I would like to play with a proper hero model at some point in my life. My gut says a strong B.
Mm-hmm.
End of sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works pretty darn well.
Yeah. No, I think B is perfectly fair, and I know somebody out there is going to be a big fan of it and change our minds.
And we encourage said mind changing.
I know, but there you go. B it is. B for Ghost.
Yes.
Logic.
Yes. We have any?
Logic?
This is a TIE Striker, I believe. This is another Rogue One special.
Yeah.
I believe its purpose is designed for in-atmosphere pew-pewing. Yeah, this one's weird for me. It's. I get it. I get it. I really wish, though, it had mirrored wings and been 4 wings. That, I think, would look really cool. I know 2 wings glides, great, but it feels disjointed to me. Although it is more original, of course, than other things in the TIE Armada. But it feels incomplete and a bit disjointed.
I forgot to read a super chat. Olivia, Julius, $5.
Oh, Olivia.
My favorite is trying to put a tie on Sam. He fights that tie so much. He becomes a TIE fighter.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And Ray Ricks, £5. The Ghost is A tier just because.
There is a just because factor.
Perfect. Yeah, I've never been a fan of this design. It looks too like there are videos online of like bird mating rituals, and the one blackbird puts his wings like this. It's exactly what it looks like. It feels incomplete. There's something missing. It's just a cylinder hanging off the bottom. Like add something at the bottom there, but never been a fan of this design. So it's not going to get a high mark from me. That's all I got to say about it.
Well, that's why I mimicked there. I get it, but I don't think it works visually. But at least it's different.
Let's see. Let's look at this tier list. I want to put it at a D.
I will agree just. I think logically it's more of a C, but I think visually I would go with a D. Gut reaction.
Well, somebody, that dude Vince says it just looks unfinished, and I agree. I thought the same thing when I saw it on screen. I'm like, that's an interesting design, but so many other nicer TIE fighter designs.
How would you feel, as I said, if it had 4 wings instead?
Yeah, that'd be much better. Yeah, 100%.
Thank you.
Because it just looks so unfinished on the bottom. Yeah. There's no detail.
But if it's a glider and it's meant to, that's cool. But also, how not often is that used, etc.
You know what does it better though?
Ooh,
this.
What's this called? I don't remember.
I have no idea. But this is the same idea, but better executed. Changing the shape of the main body of the ship, I think, is a good idea. Yes, it doesn't fit in the TIE family necessarily, but you have the TIE fighter panels to represent that. This is a much bulkier, beefier version of that last one, which actually works for me. So
TIE Reaper.
TIE Reaper, okay.
Doesn't remember where it came from. Let me remind us. A TIE Reaper attack lander, also known as the TIE Reaper, was a troop carrier variant used by Galactic Empire. It was different from the standard craft as primarily a troop transport. So it's a troop transport, which makes sense. And I believe it was also in Rogue One. Yes, Rogue One. So it's so it was in a similar vein.
Yeah. Hold on just 1 second. We got a super chat from Prince Alhorian, which is not sure the currency, but 35. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Vader, I want a Snowspeeder. Palpatine, we have a Snowspeeder at home. C tier. Do you want the C? You want the Snowspeeder moved down to C tier? Okay. Super chats have spoken.
It's $2. Thanks so much.
Oh, that's only equivalent to $2. That means it doesn't get moved down.
Oh.
Sorry.
But it is his third super chat. Can somebody else throw in the $2 to help put that down? Because Stuart is right. I mean, them are the rules. No, you're right. I think this works a lot better. It's so much more original. Actually, now looking, you can see the TIE Fighter butt at the back. I think that's there. I like the wings a lot. I know it looks cool in motion. I do remember going... beefy, bulky. And this, I think, is a more effective... We've changed everything about a TIE Fighter, but kept everything about a TIE Fighter. You know what I mean? It isn't the ball at the front. It's got more to it.
And he meant the TIE Abomination, not the speeder. The last? What?
Okay, Prince, clarify with more text.
D, it moved up to C, I think. Yeah.
But yes, I like this one quite a lot, actually.
I do too. Let's look at the list here. I want to put this at a B tier.
Yes, I would agree.
Ozzy says make it so. So Ozzy kicked in the extra money. So we're going to move this up here. This is what he wanted. And we're going to put this one we just looked at in the C tier category.
You mean
right.
B.
What?
You just said B. You mean B. You said C, you meant...
I meant B, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was...
Yes. Now, there is a lot of B, though, and I do want to start. I think we need to creme de la creme. I think B might need some love, because there's so much kind of originality in B. Contrast, this will be important.
We're going to be,
okay,
refining after a while.
Yes.
We're also 20 minutes or so left. We should fire through some. Oh yeah, this thing, I've never liked the design of this either, but at least it's original and looks kind of complete. So
yeah, this one was a game, one I believe Legends, and it was put into canon in some side thing. Yeah, this one feels to me like, hey, we've got some budget. Let's shove stuff together and make a thing. I believe from the games, this was a big defender. It had a lot of shield power, and obviously it has 2 cannons per wing set, so it's bigger, slower, but it can take punishment. I actually rather like it. I think it's. And you know what? I don't need the middle to spin. It doesn't need to. Just say an orientation. I actually rather like this. I've always had a soft spot for it, actually. I would say this is a high B for me, creeping into A because it's so original.
I was going to say A.
I will, yeah.
For originality.
Yeah,
so.
I think it really kind of works. Yeah.
And it's a complete package. It doesn't look unfinished.
Yeah. I rather like it. There's a TIE tryhard.
This thing.
So this is the TIE Advanced Mark 1, which was used in Rebels. It's the first generation of Vader's TIE Advanced. You're shaking your head of enthusiasm. Let me know what level of enthusiasm you have for this craft.
The curved wings on an Imperial ship don't work for me. They're always straight lines. They're always hard edges. Yes, there are balls for the cockpit. I get that. That's still there. But the wings for me just don't work. And to not have the black grilling on the outside as well is another odd choice, in my opinion. Visually, at least. I mean, it makes sense to have them armor plated on the outside. That's fine. But I don't like the look of this one necessarily. I know where I want to put it, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, this one, I remember the first time I appeared in Rebels, I was like, huh. I get it, doesn't mean I like it.
Exactly, yes.
As a first-gen advanced TIE that's taking all the power of a TIE fighter and streamlining it into a small thing, I assume that's hyperdrive, cool, great. But it feels weedy. Now, if the wings folded so it could land, but like as a curve fold, I'd like it more. So it would feel like a personal TIE. But with every variation under the sun that we're going to look at, it just feels very underwhelming, and it's so not different in the terms of it's so similar to Vader's TIE Advance, but yet isn't. But since we're judging very simple shapes, you still got to go gut reaction. So for pure gut, I want to give it a D. So I think it messes up so much of the flow and doesn't do anything interesting.
I was gonna give it a B, but hey.
Wow, and you didn't like it, and yet you leave it a B.
I'm not a fan, but I can see why it was designed and why people like it.
But it's just a TIE fighter with thin wings. It's so boring. It's not doing anything interesting.
Yeah, it loses all the bulk. Those wings are too small. Yeah.
I just, at least the TIEs in C, you see what they're doing and it's new and interesting. This is doing less and it's less interesting. That's what yeah, it's an Inquisitor TIE fighter. Yeah, I just don't think it's interesting.
You know what? D it is. Just because I did kind of say I hated it.
You did kind of say that, yeah. I was very certain on the same page there, and you threw me another curveball.
I'm in a mood today, Sam.
I hate it.
Right.
I hate it. A. What?
Okay, here we go. The TIE Interceptor.
Or the TIE Advanced. No, you're
yes,
right. Yes,
Interceptor, yeah. This is in Squadrons. This is the one I fly all the time when I fly Imperial, because it is maneuverable as hell. More guns, more firepower.
More fun.
It's kind of set up like a X-wing with the 4 points. And yeah, it looks very cool as well. Plus, you get better range of vision with those cutouts in the wings than just the regular TIE fighter as well. So you can actually kind of see what the hell's... It's important in a fight. I'm just saying. So yeah, I do like this one. This was a very... As far as TIE fighters go, this is probably my favorite one. So... Ray Rex, 5 pounds, TIE Interceptor S tier. Well, we haven't judged it yet, but
yeah, this is even though it's the same goddamn middle, right? Same goddamn middle. It's so goddamn
still cutting their costs.
It's so damn sleek. If the two sides were filled in, it would not be even half as sleek. Giving that 4-pointness is really good. Makes it feel pointy and aggressive, forward-facing, bulky but sleek bulky. I can see the middle guns. I can see the point guns. It shows how versatile the TIE infrastructure is and how simple the shape variation can be. But it has all of the oomph, and yeah, it's always a wonderful choice in games because it's just a better TIE in every conceivable way.
Yeah,
and it often
has shielding, I believe.
Yeah, it's entirely original. Yeah, for me, this is the sexiest TIE. Mm-hmm. So I will throw this in and agree with Ray as an S because I think it is the sexiest TIE. It just works in a way that Vader's doesn't. And a lot of the TIE fighters try, and obviously you can see things are being repeated. The one in C, you could argue is the wings on the top, but done worse, and it doesn't work as well, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and it's another thing that's cool about Return of the Jedi. Just even more designs, even more kick-ass. You know, we took our amazing thing and we're bigger. You know. Yeah.
We're just pulling in another S tier.
Oh.
I mean, can be said. Different firing modes. You can fire them all at once.
Yeah.
They take longer to recharge. You can fire them 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they just keep going, or alternating twos. I love setting up the firing patterns on this when I fly it. I like experimenting with them. Plus, I love the fact that the wings close when it's not an attack formation. Such a simple thing, but. And also to be able to look over your shoulder in VR and you see your droid right there. That's really awesome as well.
So that makes you real happy.
Yeah. And I loved this ever since I was a kid. Got the little micro machines. I always used to fly them around. Like, not the micro machines, but like the bigger micro machine. Anyway.
The middle machine.
Yeah. I never had the Hasbro one because I hated the proportions on it. It never looks right to me. I've since got this one, which you can't see. Probably.
I can see it. Yeah.
I'll grab it. What the fuck? You start talking.
Yeah, no, this is one of those things where it went past Jesus. It went past iconic Star Wars fighter. It's just an iconic sci-fi fighter. And I think if you are presented, if an average person of the world has said, picture a sci-fi science fiction fighter, this would be number one in almost everyone's lists. And if you've got bias towards other things, you'll say Battlestar Galactica Viper, but this is far more iconic. There isn't many other things in sci-fi as iconic as this. The Falcon is in its own way, of course, but this is the fighter. This is, and also this I think is a far more of a toy that people owned because it could be smaller, it moved, more playable than the Falcon. Like this is the toy, right? Yep, the wings are great. The shape is great. It also feels like a World War fighter with the sort of way the front 30% is. There's something about that feels real. The engines are fun. The intakes are fun. In fact, there is cutouts and parts that are incomplete, which is nice. The engines, have open bits which are unimportant in most modes, but it's like, oh, they didn't bother having the scrap, etc. The droid section is beautiful. Now weapons. The fact it's got a little ladder is cute. It's an all-round very, very nice thing. I don't remember particularly in games the multi-fire option being overly useful. Like why, I think from a game that I've played, 4 at once, the recharge rate's slower, so you're getting all 4 pummel, but obviously if you miss, you miss. 2 and 2 is sort of a hybrid, and 1 at a time is the fastest but the least powerful. But it's so quick firing, just keep,
Yeah. I just want to address a comment here. Troy says, does it have a handle and a trigger? There is a handle that snaps in here, but I took it off because it looks bulky and stupid. It folds down and you can hold it like this, which is really cool.
Right.
And the triggers are...
Oh. Goodness.
So, and his little computer comes out and is like, and it lights up. It's awesome.
Well,
Sorry.
And it's also a new sensor from the film. It's an OP design. It has 4 incredible cannons. It has a droid that does all the fun math. It's hyperspace and fast as plot, and 2 most powerful sub missiles, which are very, very powerful. Like it's OP, but it's their frontline weapon. We can only afford to steal, build, or kit bash 10 of them. We're gonna give them everything because we've got 10 pilots and 10 ships. Better not die. So it's OP.
And it's so good. It was our very first Fleet Yards video.
Yeah.
Go watch our Fleet Yards video on the X-Wing.
Yes.
It was fun to learn about it, actually. That's
quite
interesting history with the Rebels and stuff as well.
So yes, it is an S. Congratulations, X-Wing. You did good. You did good. Now it'll be interesting if we get to do the later version and compare it to the new X-Wing.
I don't like the new one. I don't like Pose.
Well, it'll be less interesting now because Stuart said things about it.
Sorry.
You know what I mean.
Yes.
That's almost worth doing a comparison video by itself, just doing the two. But yes. Tiberium fighter. Lovely. Very, very nice. Iconic shape. Simple but elegant. I get the fun of the flying motion that it lands. Not that much internal volume really, given the size, because all of it's being sort of utilized by the wings. Like mentally, it's actually not a lot of space. But the wing, it can shoot. It's very elegant. It's a very, very nice thing. I like it a lot.
Yes, I agree. All the shapes are fantastic. A little bit exaggerated. I don't know why the main fin at the back has to be so big.
Yes.
But it works 100%. It's beautiful in motion.
Yes.
I like the shapes. Folding feature when it lands. The ramp that Vader would just walks through. His head walks through. Doesn't quite work.
Because let's put smoke right into the people who come out's faces.
It's not smoke, it's steam.
Let's the steam right into people's faces.
Perfect. And there is one of these in The Mandalorian as well. You get to see the interior a little bit more. And the toy was fantastic also. I never had it because it's a very large toy. But this is an S tier for me. Everything about it is just fantastic.
I like what you said there, actually. There is a certain amount of style over substance, but it really does work. For me, this also is an S tier. I think there's something about it that just works. Just something that just works. And it was lovely to see that one Mandalorian episode doing something. Yeah. Better than some of its parts. It's always nice to have to build. It's always nice to have to build almost full practical sets as well. It's like, haha, you get to see it live.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room inside, really, but
it's a shuttle. It's compared to what else is in S, it's a very simplistic craft that doesn't do very much, but it's a nice design.
All right, next up we've got 5 more.
Okay. TIE Bomber. It's a creatively ugly ship, right? It's meant to be slow, hulking, pew pew, bomb bomb, blah. So it's meant to look like an ugly stepchild. I've always found it slightly odd that it's got the wings of the Vader, which implies it's more advanced, but it's not presented that way. But it is, but it isn't. You know, it has a slight Kit Bash vibe, even though the middle's all new. You know, it's a slightly odd one. What do you think?
It does what it's supposed to do. It's got a lot of internal volume for bombing runs, and we do see it bombing the crater when they're in the worm. So, yeah, such great sound design in Star Wars.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's bulky for the sake of being bulky, but it makes sense for why it would be that way. And I never really thought about the TIE advanced wings, honestly.
Yeah.
Just kind of works, though. I think if they were straight, it wouldn't look as good.
Yep.
So.
Yep, I know. Yep. Exactly.
It's just a design choice, but
it's a repurpose. I mean, it makes you can make it make sense, right?
Yeah.
Fundamentally.
Kyle Wong, 5 pounds. Did you know the 80s V-Series shuttle uses the discarded shuttle design from Star Wars? Yes, I did know that.
80s V-Series shuttle.
Yes. It's like a prototype design.
Oh, okay. So this one I think is kind of, I just poo-poo it on general, I don't love the design. That's purely just personal preference of sex appeal or lack thereof.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I thank it for its service. But for me, you're getting it near D territory, and I'm going to let you throw in your thoughts on that, because it's like right on that precipice of just like, it's got some UGG factor for me.
It does, but compared to the other things in D, I'm very happy to throw it in C slot.
That's
just because it is an iconic TIE fighter design, and it looks good in a fleet with other TIE fighters. It holds true to what the TIE design is without going outside the box.
Yeah, well, it's a form follows function. It's just not very nice to look at. But yeah, okay, C is fine. Like I said, it was on that. You could, I think, argue both. But D's are nebulous. Like, we just like them for specific reasons, so it's kind of, you know. Yeah. Okay.
All right, next up.
But I appreciate you, TIE Bomber. I appreciate you.
Yes. Yes.
And
I just want to be one of your pilots because that'd be a boring job.
God. And I have had many a time in Battlefront 2 where I have chosen the bomber because I remember its primary gun is very thin firing arc, but it's very, very powerful. And then firing the bombs on the big capital ships, very satisfying. So it absolutely has a place. But
I don't think I don't even know if it's available in Squadrons. Is it one of the ones that's available? TIE Interceptor, regular TIE Fighter.
Oh, I don't know.
There's a 3-winged one. I'll have to look that up. I don't think I've ever flown it if I did, because I don't like it.
Oh, there you go. Ah, yes. This is on you.
This is a transport cargo shuttle.
Yes, from Rogue One as well.
Taking the Lambda type design, same company, obviously. It's all right. It takes what the Lambda did well and just kind of goes with it. I mean, it's fine. It's missing something. It's missing that big tail fin. It's missing something. It's just seems incomplete a bit, but it's a work vehicle. It's made for doing what it's supposed to do, right? So
this one I know because this was the second model I ever converted, and in terms of detail level, it was ridiculously high compared to the other one, and I had to really fuck around with the colours and getting the wings to rotate on the right pivot point. So I know it quite well, and it sort of annoys me. I like it, but also aesthetically it's ugly. It's both for me at the exact same time. I appreciate the split wing, it's kind of cool, but also it's a lot of wasted space feeling. Yeah, it's weird. It's a cognitive dissonance ship. And we see it so rarely, of course, that it makes such a little impression. My gut says C, because it doesn't have the class of what's in B. But I certainly like it more for what it's doing right than D. What would you have said?
I probably would have said D.
Okay. I just think it's so much more original than the TIE in D.
It is.
And it works as a decent Lambda. I'd say low C. I think just survives off the D slot.
Yeah, okay, I agree. Sure. So I just looked it up. Squadrons, we have a TIE Bomber, the TIE Reaper, TIE Fighter, and the TIE Defender, which you actually don't have the TIE Defender on this list.
Oh. Okay.
But that's okay. It's all right, you see. It's okay to be wrong once in a while, Sam.
No, the TIE Defender's the multi-wing in A.
It's not, though.
It's what it says. If you Google TIE Defender, that's what it comes up with.
Yeah, but it's the same design. It's just the points are longer, like an Interceptor. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just go with that. It's already on the list. Look at that.
Okay. Okay.
The one picture we have is a little bit stunted. It doesn't look quite right, but that's okay. It's fine.
Okay.
It's all good. It's all good now. We're fine.
Okay.
We're all fine now here. How are you?
We are all fine now. That was a start.
All
I just got what you said there. That.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's smart.
All right, another Lambda shuttle design. This is more of a personnel transport? Like
this is a troop transport, yeah.
Yeah.
Troop and cargo, yeah. Which is definitely a background ship in the piece, but I mean it's there. I do remember it.
Yeah, not as elegant as sleek as the impressive showy one, but definitely maintains that fin, which I appreciate. If that was a lot smaller, I wouldn't be happy with it. Overall, though, it's kind of an uglier brother.
But also it's kind of sleek in its own way because it counterbalances the wings to feel more through space.
Yeah.
Like it's more dimensional, even if it's not as something else, as another adjective. Don't know what I'm thinking. I quite like it. It doesn't work quite as well, but I think it has its own unique place. I like it well enough. It's not as characterful, I think. Although it's actually pretty damn different if you compare the two.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is, but it's easily recognizable as being of the same, company, right? So, um,
Still like it pretty decent though.
I want to give it a C though.
High C?
Sure, just a drink. Yeah, I was thinking B, but I don't know. Compared to the other stuff in B,
You could say B. It has a certain style.
Sure, it'll be. It's fine. It's all fine. It's fine.
Everything is fine.
All right, Y-wing. Now this is a tank, essentially. Very rough and rugged, very powerful, but the guns take a while to wind up in squadrons. I remember that. You pull the trigger and it's got to do the zzz, and then it fires, and it's quite powerful. So it's good. It's just not as maneuverable as a lot of the other ships you're fighting against. So it's kind of hard to do much with it. But I do like flying it in the game, just for the powerful weapons that it has, plus all the concussion missiles.
Hey, thanks, Wesley.
So there's, and I never, as a kid, I never liked the way the back of the engines were. I just wish they were filled in, but it's fine. Yeah, there you go. That's my take on it. It's more of it's a tougher, take a bit more of a pounding than an X-wing, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, this is rustic. Obviously intentionally so, because of course it is, well, as they show in later canon, it's a ripped apart, or they rescued someone, they pulled it apart, and what you see is just the bones of it, which is very cool to see, and it's only hyper detailed, but that much tech under the hood, it bugs me in a way, and I don't exactly know why. I think the front cockpit's great looking. Well, I don't necessarily love the fact there's a top gun, because is that like some controlling that? No. Why is there?
Yes.
Yes.
There's a back seat to it, so you can have somebody.
Yeah, but they can't. Yeah, but it's not like World War II though, where you have your head out and you do it. It's just a fire screen there. And yeah, the continuing bit is cool, and I get why. Without that, it'd be super unbalanced. It's very jet plane. I don't know. I had a toy when I was younger. I kind of liked it. It's definitely a mid for me. It both annoys me for some reason, but I also think it's really quirky and cool for some reason. I don't really know why for either. So
it always looked unfinished to me, like it needed a skin, and then we saw what they look like with the shell on.
And this is nicer in a lot of ways.
Yes, but at the same time, you can understand that, like, you can picture the shell on top of this now, and that kind of helps me with the design.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're due to they have a lot of issues mechanically, so they just decided to leave the shells off because they have to be repaired all the time. That's why they're exposed. I mean, the engines look super powerful as well compared to the X-wings.
Well, and also none of the parts will get warm then.
There you go.
Space. This one bugs me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do and don't like it. C feels mean, but B feels too generous. So I'm on the high C, low B. I literally both dislike it and like it in similar, same, confusing ways. What's your gut then? What do people think?
My gut is B.
Okay. It's so damn original compared to the other ones. Guys, first Super Jet has it. We're not far from a really lovely milestone. That'd be tremendous to get to. And then we need final swaps at the end as well. A couple more Super Jets would be tremendous as we're nearing the end of this live look at the Star Wars ships.
The Star Wars.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So B or C, guys. Where do you think we should put this? Oh, we got an eight here.
But I know it's personal preference, right? I absolutely get that's a me thing. But we all have our own personal like, dislike, whatever's.
Look, we got lots of votes for A. Oh wait.
They might be biased, or their computer might have cloned it. In fairness, who's to say? Who's to say?
With the way they came in, no, he's just spamming A. It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to super chat it in, you can lock it in at either B or C.
You have the power.
I want to put in $10. You could say I put it in B, but I want to move it to A.
Yes.
Or you could just put in $5 and put it in A. It's up to you.
Yes.
Yes.
He's right.
I'm always right.
I do think this has been a slightly more confusing live than I was expecting.
Same.
The feelings I have, I did not know going in.
Same.
Which is good, which is interesting, right? These are the important discussions to be having, Stuart. Ranking all the best original series fighters. These are the important discussions of our modern age. So I'm glad we did the service for everybody.
It's been locked in at A because of Ray Ricks. A. Ricks.
Yeah.
All right, next and last on the list.
Right. Which I added just because this is obviously a solo film thing.
Yeah.
I do like the blue, but it doesn't say Falcon to me at all.
Nope.
And the putting in the middle bit absolutely hurts the shape so goddamn much. It's kind of shocking how much it hurts it. And it shouldn't that much. It really shouldn't, but it really does.
I hated this when I saw it. I love the interior, like I said. I like the blue markings, 100%.
Nice.
But elongating that front that much, I'm like, there's no way anyone would do that and think that looks good.
I mean, the designers did. Also, they say.
Also, the radar dish sitting down like that, does that mean that it's
even know,
more advanced, or that it does raise up and Hans is just stuck in the up position? I'm not sure.
I don't. I mean, they would have thought it through, but I don't know. And do I care that much? No.
Yeah, it's a different radar dish, though. It's not even the same.
Yeah.
Details on it. Well, yeah.
No, it looks different to me.
Yeah.
And I think there is something to be said for. I think we were both very much in the camp of, yes, the front you connect the cargo pods to, and that's the alternate shape, and that looks really good. This does not do that.
Yeah, I remember thinking they're not going to redesign the Falcon, and then I saw this, and I'm like, what? And even looking at it, it's hard to imagine like how big that escape pod is. Like, it's quite large if you take into account where those mandibles are supposed to end. It's like, why would you?
Well,
why?
I think it's implied that the escape pod is actually has a jacuzzi, and it's a proper life support craft. Yeah, so that's why. Yeah. But it is amazing how this
lots of capes, lots of closets for capes.
Yeah, there's always room for capes, always room. And in fairness,
as a hell diver, I agree.
And they're also quite thin. In fairness, they don't have that much room, right? Especially if you vac pack them.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how much this hurts the design, and it really does.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing that for me this would go a C for me. That much would drop.
No, I would agree with that actually. Yes.
Because it just diminishes the vibe. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Same ship, yet not at all.
Nope. Yep.
I'm perfectly happy with a C for that because. Yep.
Yeah, I bet I had no idea where I was going with that as well.
Yeah, that's a drastic drop from the hunk of junk that's in S.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever had a 3-4 drop down from a previous almost identical.
But I mean, just looking at them on the chart there, the shapes are so like, what the hell? I don't know. Anyway, fine, it's fine.
Wicked cool down to.
Yeah.
Boy, bloody varied list. Right. So this is you guys' last. We're going to give you 4 minutes to super chat any movements of things that you believe, because as those are the regulars, we take screen caps of this, so we have the definitive audience list, which takes our discussion, which we're like pleading the case, right? We decide where it goes. You tweak, and this will be the official public list, community one, and then we'll tweak after. At some point in the future, we'll do like we'll go through all the different community lists and discuss, because they're all saved. We have everything in a separate file document. So super chat any final moves of that you fundamentally believe, either higher or lower. All sports channels, and it's always fun to get like one or two like just disagree with us. And so it's 5 to move 1. Obviously every other subsequent is another 5. Helps channel to no end. So we'll give you another 3 minutes. I have an E-wing. What's an E-wing?
Oh, the E-wing. Yes. There's also, I think there's a V-wing.
Don't know what an E-wing is. Looks like a game ship.
It is in.
Oh,
yeah,
it's in Ahsoka.
It's in
Ahsoka.
Squadrons? No, not Squadrons.
No, it's in Ahsoka. Apparently, I see a screen cap of it. Never seen this thing before. This is cool. Where was this designed for? Okay.
Keep in mind, we're doing game ships separately, so. But if it's in Ahsoka, then it's
in Ahsoka.
Good to come on here.
But the fact that I can't find a clear render, because it's only from the side. What is an E-wing? Okay. I guess this is close. Pretty damn sleek. And some rad.
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, there you go. There's an E-wing, which I did not know was a thing.
Yeah, I remember that
now. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a game ship that I sort of vaguely know. Looks way more like it's a Star Trek fighter. It's almost got the exact same shapes from Shattered Universe. It's almost identical. So it looks like a Star Trek fighter to me personally. As weird as that sounds. I guess it's a very, very advanced rebellion. I mean, it's post-Empire, so it looks very advanced.
It's the Encom Corporation that made the X-Wing.
Yeah. Gives me a lot of Battlestar Galactica vibes as well. Doesn't that look that Star Warsy to me? It looks too sleek and nice. But it's sleek and nice. I guess I'll go B for it. Having just seen it exists, because it is sleek and nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sleek and nice. TIE Silence, isn't TIE Silence from there? TIE Silencer is from the new shows, new movies.
Which will be in another list.
Because you guys have just about got us to the next, so a few more moves would be great. Yes. It's meant to replace
There's
the
another one from a game. It's Rogue Squadron game.
Well, there's loads from the games. They'll be really fun to do. There's loads of good ones.
That's what I thought this one was supposed to be.
Well, Dan, it looks pretty similar to the screen cap from Ahsoka, which I just looked at, like pretty damn similar. So, yeah. Yeah. Any? We'll give you guys 1 more minute to change. And if not, then we nailed it, or we all nailed it straight from the get-go. Any other moves? Up to you all. Oh, Chris. Yep. Looks like a Viper. It does look like a Viper. And the poll, which I'm going to end now at 79 votes. Who has the best design? The winner is Rebels for 56% and Empire at 44%. So it stayed the same despite 20 more votes. Interesting. Good to know. Yeah. Looks like everyone thinks we're where we should be, Stuart. Good for us, except we're going to change things. So, Stuart, you can...
So we're going to change.
Yes. Okay, Stuart, you can screen cap that. You can Make the note. That's
I can do the thing.
It's now locked in, guys. You've had your chance. You had your chance.
Don't say we don't do nothing for you.
Oh, no, Benjamin, just because there's a delay. So you got in the last delay factor. Okay.
Okay. Hold on. 5 pounds. B-Wing up to A. It operated so differently to other ships and was such a force in old games. Okay. Not even old games, even now squadrons as well.
And thank you, Ben. £5 is tremendous. It got us to a goal, in fact. Thank you. Yeah, it is debatable.
All right, now I'll take a picture.
Yes. So we, as a group, has determined that all original film era ships are in S and Razor Crest. In A, we have the remainder. We have 3 of the original films, plus 2 variants, one of which was a game originally, and then Ghost, so they got in. B is a slew from all the different shows and movies and all around the world. C is a lot of the sort of one-offs, actually. Kind of.
Except for the bomber.
And a lot more weird shapes, fair to say. D, we just don't like personally. Let's be brutally honest. And F, we threw in there out of feelings, and we'll see if we'll double down and go back to that. Right. As we always ask, how does this feel in contrast, Stuart? Where's the itch? What do we?
Personally, for me, I do like the E-Wing. I wouldn't mind putting it up to A.
Doesn't look very Star Warsy though.
Not that version that you got, but it does.
Oh, it's very similar to the shot I got from the show, but okay. Okay. I mean, I don't know it enough. It looks like a Viper to me. 5 minutes.
Let me throw you an image, okay?
I mean, I found the side view. That's the one thing that comes up.
Oh, but guess I can just talk if there's something you want to do.
Yes. I'll load up the old Facey book. I think. Yeah, I want to move the Rogue One U-Wing down to a C. It's just not as nice as the other ones in B.
The Rogue One
U-Wing? Yeah. It's just so many problems. Everything else in B has a certain design fun that just had design problems for me.
Okay.
And I don't love the World War II bomber from... Well, that's a model from the olden days. That's definitely not from Ahsoka.
But that looks really cool. Just saying.
It looks bulkier. That looks more... Because I do remember this from a fan mod for Empire at War based on a comic. Like, I know where it came from, which is why it's cool to see in Ahsoka, right? See, for me, the World War II bomber from Ahsoka should be a D. It just doesn't look very good, but I don't know it enough, so I don't feel like I can judge. Because that's, what it does is also important.
Yeah.
What else do you see?
Let's see.
Yes, lucky. We have got enough support Super Chat wise to bring in the prequels. There's a lot of fun stuff in the prequels.
I feel like Moff Gideon's is kind of misplaced.
Yes.
That should be a B.
I was thinking that, even though it seems dumb because why is added features it should be an A, but something about it, yeah, I agree.
Well, that picture in particular, I don't know if that's just the reason, but
something about it, I agree. Something about it, I don't know why, but I agree.
Yeah.
I think I wanted to put the Y-wing at B.
Okay.
Because it just doesn't hit A to me. And obviously we had so many wings, and we had the shifting wing one also at B, and then the meant to move to A, of course, but this is now the us list, so I moved that back down to B. That's the Y-wing. Yeah, no. Yes? No.
This one is the Y-wing.
The one next to the TIE Defender. That was in B originally. Yeah, I think I want to back it B. It's still close to an A, but it's not quite.
Oh, it's a B-wing. Yeah. Okay.
Do we want to move the TIE silencer? The TIE with the wings up down to a D because it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Or from Rogue One.
Yes.
Like just, but
because it's fucking ugly is why.
There you go. Just doesn't quite.
It's just fucking ugly. There you go. Yep, we'll move that down because.
Now, do we think F is still F, or is it really D?
Oh, it's definitely an F.
I can't move the Inquisitor TIE from D down to an F then, because it hurts too much of the vibe. I don't know why, it just bugs me. But I'm not super forceful on that, just bugs me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't care either way because I hate that thing too.
There we go. I'm not seeing much else. Like, I don't know the new Ahsoka one very much. I'm only on pure design for A, but that it's a nice design, so.
I do not like where that is, but it's because aesthetically it just looks really weird. We're gonna put it over here. That's better. Other than that,
not really seeing much else.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good.
There might be some things that are on near the line. You know, like for some reason my brain says maybe. No, I don't think we should do it, but I think on the line of D is the Skyhopper because of functionability. But then design, it's nice. But I think it's just saying C, but I think it's nearer to D than C, as in on the line. But I still think it's nicer design. It's just it doesn't do as much. But these different metrics, right? I think that's probably good.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that, honestly.
So not those many changes there could have been. Yeah. Okay. You can lock it in, Stuart.
Did it, guys.
The definitive, and you guys got half an hour extra with us. Aren't you lucky?
Oh, you're so lucky. There's nothing else you'd rather be doing with your time. But thank you for watching. I appreciate it. But yes, so yeah, we will be back with more Star Wars ships next week.
Yes. Prequels. Do you care more about prequels? Maybe. Do you have more opinions? Maybe.
Interesting.
We'll find out. A lot more clean.
Ship that didn't show up is the Cloud car from Empire Strikes Back. Cloud.
Yes.
City car.
Yeah, I guess.
That for me would probably be a D anyway.
I would say C because it's fun.
It's fun.
Yes. It's fun. It's bright orange, Stuart. What's more fun? Or bright red orange. What's more fun than that?
It's kind of like a dark coppery, rusty color. The toy's bright orange, but it's fine. It's the same color as the D on our tier list. So that kind of... Anyway, Benjamin Stone says Wednesday next week. Not sure. It could be anywhere between Monday to Wednesday. We're not exactly 100% what the schedule's like next week.
Yes, depends how hungover we are as well from Saturday. Birthday Trekyards. Join in.
Yes, my 50th birthday celebration.
Yes. And I think there'll be
you all to be part of it.
I think there'll be all of our different game shows of various varieties, but now with booze, so AI booze, ranked booze, all the booze that booze will be there, but all the games might play in as well, and that'll be fun. That'd just be fun. I got some uniforms, of course, as I always do. Celebrate Stuart's life with uniforms. That's how Yeah, makes sense.
So join us on Saturday.
Yes. And Friday for our live review.
Oh, yes.
Of Discovery.
Thursday evening for my first reaction.
All the time.
All the time. We're always here for you guys. You can always tune in and see us. So anyway, until the next time, he's Commander Talking.
He's kind of Foley.
May the Force be with you.
And also
with you.
bye, guys.
Bye-bye.